Chapter 276. Kindred Spirits? How many years had Chang Baji been learning martial arts? He had been accepted as the last disciple by the great ancestor since he was a child. After so many years of teaching and being influenced by what he saw and heard, these king's soldiers in the army could not be compared with him at all. Moreover, he was very talented, so the great ancestor valued him very much and almost taught all his skills to Chang Baji. Maybe it was because Chang Baji had a bad fate that the great ancestor was worried about him, so he asked Chang Baji to learn more skills so that he could have a foothold in this society where the strong preyed on the weak. Moreover, Chang Baji had experienced a lot over the years. He had escaped from the gates of hell many times and fought with many masters, most of whom were not easy to deal with. His actual combat experience was not something that these king's soldiers could compare with. However, how many king's soldiers in the era of peace had experienced real combat? The gap between them was not small. That was why Chang Baji met them in such a direct way today. There were not so many showy but impractical moves. Chang Baji directly spoke with his strength. When one was powerful enough, one would not care about partial gains and losses. Boss, who had thought that the drill masters in his training base were quite powerful, especially Shin Kangwu, who had won the first place in many competitions in the base. So he had been waiting to see a fierce fight between a dragon and a tiger. He thought that Shin Kangwu would not disappoint him. However, he did not expect that Chang Baji would meet him in such a domineering way. What was more, he did not expect that his most powerful drill master would be directly disabled by one move. This really made him feel ashamed. He felt that his money had been spent in vain. Fortunately, he knew Qin Sheng, who made him see these things clearly. Qin Sheng was also surprised. He had thought that Chang Baji would meet him in a similar way as last time in Shangshan Ruoshui. He did not expect that Chang Baji would meet him in a more domineering and direct way. All the drill masters stared at Chang Baji as if they were looking at a monster, especially those arrogant drill masters. They always thought that they were very powerful in daily life. It was not until today that they knew what a real master looked like. Is this the so-called most powerful person in your training base? Chang Baji said in a powerful voice. His eyes were full of mockery and sarcasm. It seemed that he did not take the group of people in front of him seriously at all. Chang Baji continued to say, "To be honest, I am very disappointed. What can the trash trained by you do? He was just going to destroy Boss Who's golden reputation. In my eyes, the things you've learned are just fancy moves without substance. I know that many of you look down on Chinese martial arts and think that those are all fake moves to deceive people. Rest assured, in the coming days, I'll let you know what traditional martial arts are." After Chang Baji finished speaking, he went back to Qin Sheng's side. Boss, who felt embarrassed and did not want to stay there any longer. Consequently, he told the chief instructor, "Send Song Wu to the infirmary. As for the rest of you, you can leave now. I hope you can learn something from what happened today. You have been living too comfortably." After Boss, who finished speaking, he left with Qin Sheng, Chang Baji, and the others. After they went back to the office, Boss, who said in a deep voice, "Lao Chang, I hope that you will pay more attention to me in the future. Since I've agreed to your request, this is what I should do," Chang Baji said indifferently. Boss, who nodded silently. After that, he walked toward Qin Sheng, patted Qin Sheng on his shoulder, and said, "Xiao Qin, thank you so much for what you have done this time. If you need any help in the future, as long as it is within my ability, I will definitely not decline." "You're welcome, Mr. Hu," Qin Sheng said with a smile. Of course, Qin Sheng knew that these favors would not have any effect in a short period of time. But as time went by, the effect would gradually show. As for Boss Hu, Qin Sheng let Chang Baji handle everything. He believed that Chang Baji's charisma was enough to conquer Boss Hu's training base. Qin Sheng knew that the danger had arrived. He put on his armor and faced the enemy without stopping. He did not know when the enemy would launch an attack, but he would definitely not sit and wait for death. Life had tortured me hundreds and thousands of times, but I still treated life like my first love. After all, there were still many beautiful things in this world. I couldn't forget these beautiful things just because of a little setback in front of me. It was getting closer and closer to Third Master Wu's birthday. Qin Shing did not know how Master Lu's painting of the old steed in the stable was going. Of course, he hoped to use this painting. However, painting was not an easy thing. Master Lu might not be able to finish it within 5 days. After all, Master Lu was already old. Qin Shing knew that Third Master Wu believed in Buddhism. So he wanted to write a simple sentence in Buddhist language. He knew that Third Master Wu believed in Buddhism. So he wanted to write it in a way that they could complement each other. He needed to feel it. While Qin Shing was preparing, Yan Chaozong was not idle either. The first confrontation could be regarded as a lose-lose situation. Yan Chaozong lost Lin Su, and Qin Shing almost lost his life. So neither of them wanted to lose the second confrontation. Yan Chaozong had stayed in Hangzhou for a few days. He had not been idle these days. He had prepared the first appetizer for Qin Shing. But it was not the end. It was just the beginning. Qin Shing's biggest opponent in Hangzhou was Yuan Ku. So Yan Chaozong wanted to meet Yuan Ku. He did not expect that under the matchmaking of Lao Jing, the person who came to meet him was actually the old monk's grandson, who was more important than Yuan Ku. The place where they met was still a manfeon. Yan Chaozong sent the beautiful campus belle away, and asked her to go shopping with her friends. As long as it could be solved with money, Yan Chaozong would certainly not care about it. A pot of good tea, a stick of sandalwood, and a song of Sanskrit. Yan Chaozong's mind was as calm as still water. Only Feng He, who was standing by his side in the living room, reported to him that Qin Shing had gone to Boss Hu's security base yesterday. It did not occur to Yan Chaozong that Qin Shing was so capable that he not only had a relationship with Third Master Wu, but also had a relationship with Boss Hu. However, none of this mattered to him because this group of people valued profits and not righteousness. Lao Jing led the old monk's grandson into the courtyard slowly, followed by Yuan Ku. How could Yuan Ku not come to such an event? Lao Yin, ha ha ha. Come out quickly. I've invited young Master Chu here. The slightly plump Lao Jing shouted as soon as he walked into the yard. Yan Chaozong stood up happily. He walked out with a smile on his face and said, I've heard a lot of friends talk about young Master Chu from Hangzhou. I'm so lucky to meet you today. The old monk's surname was Chu, so young Master Chu was the old monk's grandson. Lao Jing had informed Yan Chaozong in advance. At that time, Yan Chaozong thought that he had only invited Yuan Ku. It did not occur to him that he had disturbed this big shot. Qin Shing really did not know how to treat people well. However, even in the face of young Master Chu, Yan Chaozong was still full of confidence. Compared with the background of the Yan family, young Master Chu was really nothing. Young Master Chu stared at Yan Chaozong with an evil smile and said, Oh, I didn't expect that Brother Yan has heard of my name. Are you kidding me? I rarely go to Shanghai. Yan Chaozong said casually, Jiangsu, Zhejiang, Shanghai, Zhejiang, Shanghai. Even the slightest sign of trouble will be known. You are quite famous in Hangzhou. After all, the two of them did not have much interaction. It was natural for them to compliment each other when they met for the first time. These were all simple tricks. Young Master Chu laughed out loud and said, My fame in Hangzhou is not comparable to that in Shanghai, Brother Yan. You're well known. Don't many people call you the first young master of Shanghai? Yan Chaozong did not know whether it was flattery or sarcasm. He chuckled and said, If I were the first young master of Shanghai, I would not come to you today for such a trivial matter. Brother Yan is really straightforward. I like friends like you. Interesting, interesting, young Master Chu said meaningfully. Of course, He understood the implication of Yan Chaozong's words. It seemed that Yan Chaozong looked down on him. Lao Jing laughed and said, "Both of you are not simple people. Don't flatter each other. Let's go inside and talk. It's raining outside." Yan Chaozong did not rush to turn around and enter. Even though young Master Chu was in front of him, he would not ignore Yuan Ku. After all, these people had real power. Young Master Chu might not have any power, but it was only because of his identity. Yan Chaozong looked at Yuan Ku behind him and took the initiative to reach out to greet him. "You must be Brother Yuan." Yuan Ku was slightly touched and quickly responded, "Young Master Yan, you are too polite." Of course, Yan Chaozong would not make young Master Chu feel uncomfortable. He just shook hands with him and said with a smile, "Two distinguished guests, please come in." After they entered the living room, Feng He could only act as a temporary waiter. After all, some words could not be heard by outsiders. Young Master Chu asked curiously, "I heard from Lao Jing that Brother Yan asked us to meet for a common enemy. I don't know what happened between Brother Yan and him that made you come to Hangzhou to eliminate him." Yan Chaozong sighed and said, "It's really hard for me to say. I can only say that the hatred between me and him is a matter of life and death. I will definitely make him pay." Hearing Yan Chaozong's words, young Master Chu and Yuan Ku were surprised at first. Then, they became happy. It did not occur to them that Qin Shing had offended such a powerful opponent. He was really good at courting death. Yuan Ku said curiously, "I heard that he used to stay in Shanghai. Why didn't you get rid of him when you were in Shanghai? Why did you give him a chance to stir up trouble in Hangzhou?" "Why didn't I? I was careless at that time and let him escape. After that, he hid his identity for more than half a year. I just got the news some time ago, so I came to Hangzhou." "I don't know what happened between you and him," Yan Chaozong said curiously. Young Master Chu said straightforwardly, "I just don't like him. He even dared to humiliate the Chu family. How could I tolerate him?" Yuan Ku did not talk nonsense. He smiled faintly and said, "He and I have more grievances. It's a long story, so I don't have to say it." Yan Chaozong could tell that the two of them held a deep grudge against Qin Shing. "Consequently," he said, "in that case we can be considered to be like-minded. If we join hands, I think even if he has 9 lives, he won't be able to survive." Young Master Chu liked this kind of words. He said excitedly, "Ha ha ha ha, then let's discuss how to torture this prey. I really want to see him cry and beg for mercy in front of me." Chapter 277. All in one go. Recently, there is an activity in the circle of Zongheng app. The characters that touch you the most can participate in the activity. You can say the characters and the reasons, whether they are Prajna, the unruly people, or the counterattack. The activity will give out prizes. I may also write about related characters. I hope you can support me. Yan Chaozong and Qin Shing could not get along because Qin Shing had stolen his wife and slapped his face. The reason why Yuan Ku could not get along with Qin Shing was that Qin Shing had messed up his plan, causing him to lose the benefits that were easily within his reach. Young Master Chu was a little depressed because he did not like Qin Shing. Young Master Chu's real name was Chu Fan, and his nickname was Huanxi, which had no special meaning. He just liked to laugh after he was born. He could not be called Happy or Happy, so the old monk gave him the name Huanxi. Later, everyone called him that. However, some people called him that because he was very good at singing in Hokkien. He was good at singing happy, so people often teased him, "Happy, happy, happy." No one knew whether Huanxi was good or not. Anyway, he was handsome, talented, rich, and had a good background. He was popular with women and had offended many people. After all, young and frivolous people would be domineering. However, although he was a playboy, he was quite smart. He would not provoke those who should not be provoked, and he would trample on those who could be provoked. Chu Huanxi and Yan Chaozong hooked up, Yuan Ku added fuel to the fire, and the Lin family was waiting for an opportunity. It was really difficult for Qin Sheng to get through this. In the evening, Qin Sheng drank with several leaders of the municipal bureau. This was the result of Feng Jianpei's matchmaking. He was also there tonight, so all the expenses were on Qin Sheng. Other people did not have such a chance. Of course, Qin Sheng did not embarrass Feng Jianpei. Everything was arranged properly and he drank a lot. When they were almost drunk, they left. Qin Sheng was already a little drunk. Gu Xiaobo was the driver tonight. As for work, naturally, other people would worry about it. Grape wine in the luminous cup, when you want to drink, the pipa urges you on the horse. Drunk on the battlefield, Lord Grimm, how many people have fought since ancient times? Wine is really a good thing. People without wine are so lonely. Qin Sheng laughed. He did not know why he was so happy tonight. Gu Xiaobo echoed, when the moon is bright, I ask the sky with a cup of wine. If there is no wine, it is estimated that our thousands of years of culture will be less splendid. You see, how many people there are in the ancient times. Qin Sheng said thoughtfully, that's right. When Huai Su was drunk, he used his hair as a brush and lived his life wantonly. Tonight, I will also try to see if I can satisfy myself. He really did not have time to write that piece of calligraphy these days. The time was getting closer and closer. Tonight, he wanted to stay up all night. No matter what, he must make himself satisfied. After returning to his home in the Golden Coast, Qin Sheng locked himself in the study. Since Lin Su was not there, of course, nobody would care about him. Therefore, Qin Sheng could do whatever he wanted tonight. Qin Sheng 1-4. Song Yen Qing set in. I Fu Shin, I in, Yu Song, I Song, I have you. Ming Song, Yu Liang Hua. After a long time, Qin Sheng suddenly opened his eyes. He put down the brush and started his performance. Qin Sheng's eyes lit up as he wrote faster and faster on the rice paper. He seemed to see Huai Su, who was drunk and crazy, and Zhang Su, the sage of grass. If those so-called masters saw Qin Sheng in this state, they would be shocked. Many people could not find such a state in their whole life. After a few minutes, Qin Sheng finally finished the last word. He threw the brush out subconsciously. A painting that could make calligraphers feel ashamed was finished. Qin Sheng laughed out loud. He did it all in one go and felt hearty and satisfied. It seemed that he had used up his last energy. Qin Sheng could not hold on anymore. He was sleepy. He sat on the ground and fell asleep. He remembered reading in an article that when many masters finished the most important works in their lives, they almost used up all their energy. It seemed that they could not come up with such works again. Buddha strives for incense, man strives for a breath. This breath was too important. When Lu Yao wrote the last part of The Ordinary World, his hands were cramping and he could not hold the brush. He had to soak it in hot water for a while before he started again. After finishing the last word, he threw the ballpoint pen out of the window. When Chen Zhongshe wrote the last word of the White Deer Plateau, he cried on the spot. He was already in his 50s at that time. He knew that he would never be able to write such a work in his life. When Qin Sheng opened his eyes, it was already 12 o'clock in the afternoon. This sleep was so comfortable that he did not wake up even with his regular routine. At this moment, Qin Sheng was in a mess. Ink and cigarette ashes were all over his body. His hair was even more messy. The drunkenness and madness gave him a splitting headache. He struggled to get up and saw that the sun was already high outside the window. He casually glanced at the alarm clock on the wall and realized that it was already past midnight. How long have I slept? Qin Sheng muttered. He picked up his phone and found that there were more than 10 missed calls and dozens of WeChat messages. It seemed that everyone could not contact him and thought that something had happened. Qin Sheng did not care about anything. He looked at his work. Even he did not expect that he could have such a masterpiece. He smiled with satisfaction. It was done. He took a shower and changed his clothes. Chang Baji was worried that something had happened to him. He asked Gu Xiaobo to make sure that Qin Xing did not come out. Chowda and Mizan called him because they had something to do. Lin Su just greeted him normally. Han Bing complained that she had only seen Qin Xing once since she came to Hangzhou. Yang Deng asked if Qin Xing had arranged everything properly. They would set off tomorrow afternoon. The birthday party would be held at noon the day after tomorrow. Qin Xing was so hungry that he went directly to find Han Bing for lunch. At the same time, he asked someone to find someone to frame the calligraphy last night. He told them to stay close to it. He knew that people who knew about calligraphy would be stunned when they saw it. Han Bing's new company was located in an office building by West Lake. She could overlook the beautiful scenery of the whole West Lake. Han Bing, who always cared about inspiration and enjoyment, would definitely not treat herself badly. After all, she was a super rich and beautiful woman. She inherited so much property and did not have much ambition. She could only think about how to spend the money. Han Bing had already booked a table and was waiting for Qin Xing. When Qin Xing arrived, Han Bing muttered, "Why are you so slow? I thought you rode a snail here." "Madam, I am driving a car, not flying a plane. Don't you know how congested Hangzhou is?" Qin Xing was speechless. Han Bing snorted. "I guess if Lin Su looked for you, you would immediately rush over. Reasons are all reasons." Qin Xing did not bother to pay attention to her. He rolled his eyes and said, "Hurry up and order. I am so hungry." Han Bing looked at Qin Xing and asked, "Why are you so listless? What did you do last night? You didn't answer my call in the morning. Tell me, is it because Lin Su is not here? Did you fool around outside? With such a beautiful woman in front of me, do I still need to fool around?" Qin Xing teased. Han Bing enjoyed his words very much. She was in a good mood and began to order dishes for Qin Xing. They chatted while eating and asked about each other's recent situation. In the afternoon, Qin Xing went to the company first to deal with some things. In the evening, he went to find Chowda. He had dinner at Jiushi Rose Garden and reported some recent work to Chowda. The next morning, Qin Xing went to the villa of Mai Jiawu to pick up the painting. Sun Yu had called Qin Xing last night and told him that the painting that Master Lu had promised had been completed. These days, Master Lu almost did not go out at all. At the same time, he closed the door and refused to meet any guests. He had been working on the painting. Anyway, he had spent a lot of energy. Of course, Qin Xing understood that he really owed Master Lu a big favor this time. However, this favor had to be returned. He just did not know when. "Little Qin, look at this painting. Are you satisfied with it?" Master Lu asked someone to put the painting on the table. A beautiful painting was unfolded in front of Qin Xing. It was grand and exquisite. Qin Xing could not help but sigh. Master Lu was indeed a top master in Jiangsu, Zhejiang, and Shanghai. No wonder so many people were willing to pay a lot of money for a painting. The ink landscape, green pines and strange cypresses, the long river, the setting sun, the shepherd boy, the old man, the thatched cottage, and the cattle. Everything was so natural. If this painting was taken to the market, Qin Xing dared not say that it would be worth tens of millions, but it would definitely be worth millions. Qin Xing admired this painting. The more he looked at it, the more he liked it. He did not know that Master Lu had spent a lot of energy on this painting like him. He looked a lot tired and had a lot of white hair. "Master Lu, this painting of yours has already exceeded my appreciation level. I really don't know how to evaluate it, and I am not qualified to do so," Qin Xing said slowly. This was also what he thought. Master Lu replied with a smile, "As long as you are satisfied with it, you can take the painting away. Don't forget my calligraphy. I have to rest for a few days." Qin Xing did not dare to disturb Master Lu anymore. He left happily with this painting. The painting had been mounted, and he did not need to do anything else. Since the painting and calligraphy were done, It was time for Qin Sheng to set off for Mount Putuo. He did not know whether these two stunning birthday gifts could knock on the door of Third Master Wu. In the afternoon, Qin Sheng said something to Chang Baji and Mizan. Then he and Gu Qingyang went to meet Yang Deng. It was estimated that he would come back on Monday at the latest. Originally, Qin Sheng wanted to go to Mount Putuo alone. However, Chang Baji still suggested that Gu Qingyang accompany him. Many things needed to be prepared. When Yang Deng saw Qin Sheng, he laughed and said, "Why don't we take the same car? You don't have to do this." Of course, Yang Deng did not understand Qin Sheng's precaution. Qin Sheng found an excuse and explained, "I may have to deal with something in Ningbo." "Oh, I see. Okay, then I will take the same car with you. We can talk on the way." Yang Deng did not think much. Then he got in Qin Sheng's car, and his driver followed behind. Qin Sheng asked casually, "Has Brother Luo and the others already set off?" "Brother Luo has something to deal with today. It is estimated that he can go there in the evening. Although the old master wants to keep a low profile, it is impossible for him to do so on his 70th birthday." "I guess many people will go to Mount Putuo," Yang Deng laughed and said. Qin Sheng nodded silently. If one could live a lifetime like this when he was old, his life would not be in vain. Qin Sheng remembered that when he first came to Bailuyuan, the scene of Mr. Zhu, the great scholar, passing away really shocked him. Numerous people, both acquaintances and strangers, saw him off. The white banners were like a long dragon, which could not be seen from 10 miles away. This was called living a lifetime. Chapter 278. Enemies are bound to meet. Originally, Third Master Wu wanted to keep a low profile on his 70th birthday. Now it seemed that he could not keep a low profile. Otherwise, he would not stay on Mount Putuo instead of going back to Hangzhou. He wanted to avoid these worldly affairs and seek peace. However, even if he wanted to avoid it, others could not ignore it. They had to be polite. Those who were not qualified could be rejected. But what about the rest? None of them was easy to deal with. Third Master Wu could not reject them all. This was not his style. Therefore, there were other people on this trip to Mount Putuo. Many of them represented their families or the big shots behind them. Among them were the brother and sister of the Dugu family, Qingning and Qingyu, whom Qin Sheng had just met a few days ago. This pair of brother and sister with different characters also set off in the afternoon. However, Qingning went to attend the birthday celebration, while Qingyu went to burn incense and pray for blessings. Recently, her mother was not in good health. She had just had a minor operation. Therefore, Qingning took this opportunity to burn incense in Mount Putuo. Based on the relationship between Qingning and Yang Deng, it could be seen that the relationship between the Dugu family and Third Master Wu was also good. Although they had fought against each other in these years, they had not fallen out with each other. After all, they had to save face. Only by being harmonious could they make money. With such a big cake, there were many opportunities to make money. There was no need to be indifferent. Moreover, this was not the era of fighting and quarreling. The older generation had basically retired behind the scenes. The successors made a lot of money by relying on their influence. Qingning and Qingyu sat in the back of the Mercedes-Benz G63. The drivers and bodyguards were driving. In addition, there were 2 cars following them. This was the ostentation of the descendants of big families. Qingning played a mobile game and muttered casually, "Brother, after we burn incense tomorrow morning, I will go back first. You can go by yourself at noon. You know I don't like that kind of occasion." Qingning was watching the news. He refused directly and said, "No, this is a task given by my father. He said that there must be many young talents this time. At that time, he will find a suitable husband for you and let you get married as soon as possible. Otherwise, you will have a good time every day." Qingyu began to play a woman's unique weapon. She shook Qingning's shoulder and said in a spoiled manner, Brother, you are the best to me. I beg you. Qingning refused directly as she said, If you want to talk to the old master, go ahead. If you are not afraid that the old master will cut off your financial support, go ahead. Qingning frowned and said, In fact, it's just a formality. You'll accompany me to take a walk there. After that, we'll go back. How can I push my most lovely sister to someone else? No matter what, you have to find a man you like, don't you? Qingyu began to sulk. Qingning did love her sister dearly. Upon hearing this, Qingyu directly hugged Qingning. She almost hugged and kissed him as she said, Brother, I know you are the best. They had already thrown old man Dugu to the highest heavens at this moment, when they set out, Qin Xing, Yang Deng, and the others were about to arrive at Ningbo. Of course, they did not need to go to Ningbo City. They just needed to go to Mount Putuo along the highway. On the way, they talked about a lot of things. Of course, Qin Xing told them that he had gone to Boss Hu's training base with Chang Baji a few days ago. After all, it was Yang Deng and Brother Luo who had pulled some strings for him. Yang Deng deliberately teased him as he said, We have arrived in Ningbo. As a son-in-law of Ningbo, why don't you go to the city to visit your parents-in-law? Anyway, we only need to arrive at Mount Putuo at night. Of course, he knew that Qin Xing and the Lin family were not on good terms. Otherwise, Qin Xing and Lin Su would not have eloped from Shanghai. However, he did admire the courage of Qin Xing's girlfriend, Lin Su. She gave up her big family and pampered life to suffer hardships with Qin Xing. How brave she was! Upon hearing this, Qin Xing stared at Yang Deng and said, Are you so free to make fun of me? I'm afraid that even if I enter Ningbo City, I won't be able to go out alive. Do you have to do that? You've been together for so long. What's done cannot be undone. I've already told you the solution. You can have a baby and bring it back. Do you think that old guy Lin Chongting will chase you out? Yang Deng said with a smile. The face of the Lin family, which has existed for hundreds of years, is not so simple. Yang Deng kindly reminded him, Well, if you don't want to, forget it. But I guess you will definitely meet with the Lin family tomorrow. You should be mentally prepared. Qin Xing frowned and said, The Lin family will also send someone there? Yang Deng said thoughtfully, That's for sure. The Lin family has a lot of business contacts with us. Besides, the old man is on Mount Putuo. The Lin family is the local tyrant in Ningbo. How can they not be courteous? But I don't know who will go there. Qin Xing shook his head and said, It's okay. They already know that I am in Hangzhou. They just don't do anything. Tomorrow I will try to find out. Maybe I can go to Ningbo to have a meal. Yang Deng teased him and said, Ha 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 ha, you are just trying to find happiness in bitterness. Yang Deng was right. The Lin family in Ningbo would definitely send someone to celebrate Third Master Wu's birthday. However, it would not be the two elders of the Lin family, but Lin Su's disappointing brother. No matter how disappointing he was still the successor of the Lin family. Naturally, Lin Chongting had to be cultivated slowly. In the ancestral house of the Lin family in Ningbo, Lin Chongting was telling Lin Zhe what to do tomorrow. He said, I have prepared the gift. You should leave early tomorrow morning. Don't miss it. Lin Zhe nodded and said, Dad, don't worry. I will get up at 6 o'clock and leave. I will definitely not miss it. Tomorrow was a chance to show his face and win glory. Of course, he would not miss it. Lin Chongting was a little tired. Nothing went well in the Lin family in the past 6 months. He did not know what went wrong. He was going to ask a master to tell him what went wrong. Okay. Lin Chongting was a little sleepy. He waved his hand to indicate that Lin Zhe could leave. Lin Zhe did not leave. Instead, he asked, Dad, what are you going to do about that thing? Are you going to let them continue to embarrass our Lin family in Hangzhou? You don't have to worry about these things. After all, she is my daughter, Lin Chongting said with a sigh. He knew who had sent that thing to him. He was exhausted because of the things that had happened to the Lin family in the past 6 months. He was already wondering if it was because of that incident that God was taking revenge on him. However, he was somewhat unwilling to let it go. After all, he did not like that young man. How could he let such an excellent daughter be taken advantage of by that guy? However, his daughter was willing to give up everything for him. This made Lin Chongting feel very helpless. As for the so-called face, of course, he was angry at the beginning. However, it did not matter to him now. If he let it go, it would be hard to explain to the Yen family. Their relationship was complicated. If the Yen family got angry, the Lin family would not be able to handle it. Moreover, so many things had happened. Dad, you mean to let them go? What about the Yen family? I know it is impossible for the Yen family and the Lin family to unite by marriage. However, the Yen family cares about their face. It is impossible for them to let Lin Su and Qin Xing go. I know Yen Chaozong's temper better than anyone. If we let them go, they might vent their anger on us. We have to explain to the Yen family. Lin Zhe felt very conflicted. Who would not want to be Yen Chaozong's brother-in-law? However, it was impossible now. However, Qin Xing had beaten him before. It was impossible for him to let it go. You don't have to worry about this. I'll ask your second uncle to go to Hangzhou again and talk to them. If they can come to an agreement, that would be the best. If they can't, then we'll talk about it. Lin Chongting had already loosened up a little. What else could he do? He really had no other choice. She was his biological daughter. He could not possibly kill Qin Xing. She would probably hate him for the rest of her life. Lin Zhe felt somewhat helpless, but he could only do this. When Qin Xing, Yang Deng, and the others arrived in Ningbo, it was already dark. They had driven for 4 hours. Gu Qingyang drove all the way. He did not let Yang Deng or Qin Xing take turns. They lived in the Radisson Manor. The birthday party tomorrow would also be held in the Radisson Manor. After all, the courtyard where the old master had lived for thousands of years was so big that it could not accommodate so many people. Yang Deng asked Qin Xing and Gu Qingyang to have a rest first. He had to report to the old master first. It was estimated that everyone had arrived today, including his brother who had come from Shanghai. Yang Deng had not seen him for a long time. Qin Xing asked Gu Qingyang to have a rest first. He called Lin Su, which was something he had to do every day. Women needed care and a sense of security most. After the phone was put through, Qin Xing kept asking Lin Su how she was doing there, whether she was eating and resting well, when she would come back, etc. Lin Su answered him one by one, saying that she would arrive by plane tomorrow night. Qin Xing asked casually, "Do you know where I am now?" Lin Su was a little surprised. "Where?" Qin Xing replied slowly, "Ningbo." Hearing this news, Lin Su was shocked. She kept silent for a long time. She thought that Qin Xing had gone back to the Lin family alone to negotiate. "Ha ha, are you stupid? Didn't I tell you that tomorrow is Third Master Wu's birthday? I came over to congratulate him," Qin Xing said happily. Lin Su's flight was tomorrow night, so he had to rush back after the birthday celebration. He missed her very much after not seeing her for a week. Lin Su came to herself. She just said, "Oh," in a low voice and then sighed. Qin Xing asked with concern, "What's wrong?" Lin Su said honestly, "Lin Yu called me again today. She said that Grandma is not in good health recently. She always asks me when I will go back to see her. Grandma loves me the most in the whole family. I feel a little sad." Qin Xing's words made him feel bad. He knew the relationship between Lin Su and the old lady. Lin Su gave up everything for him. He thought for a while and said, "When you come back, I will go back to Ningbo with you. The old lady is old. You should spend more time with her. Don't leave too many regrets. As for other things, we will shoulder them together." Hearing this, Lin Su felt warm in an instant. This was the man she chose. He would never retreat at any time. Yang Deng came back soon after the phone call. He only stayed there for a while because there were too many people in the old master's place. He did not like that kind of atmosphere. Therefore, Yang Deng took Qin Sheng and Gu Qingyang out for dinner. After all, he was the most familiar with Mount Putuo. Chapter 279. Meeting the Lin family again. The experience a few days ago was still fresh in Qin Sheng's memory. He had been tortured by this fair, rich, and beautiful woman. He did not expect to meet her here again today. Alas, he did not check the almanac again before he went out. Just as Qin Ning had said, he and Yang Deng were friends. But because of their positions, it was impossible for them to become close friends. At this moment, he and his sister, Qingyu, had noticed Qin Sheng and Yang Deng, who were not far away from them. Of course, they were not surprised to see Yang Deng. After all, tomorrow was Third Master Wu's birthday. As the only foster son of Third Master Wu, Yang Deng definitely had to come to Mount Putuo to attend the birthday party. However, when Qingning saw Qin Sheng, who was standing beside Yang Deng, he felt somewhat confused. Originally, he had thought that Qin Sheng was just familiar with Yang Deng. It did not occur to him that Qin Sheng also had a relationship with Third Master Wu. This was somewhat thought-provoking. After all, not everyone could attend the birthday party. Qin Ning walked forward naturally. When Qingyu caught sight of Qin Sheng, she walked toward Qin Sheng angrily, as if she had met her archenemy from several lifetimes. Yang Deng also saw the siblings of the Dugu family. Of course, he knew them. When he met them, he would definitely greet them. However, he did not know what had happened between them and Qin Sheng. A few seconds later, the two sides met as expected. Qingyu did not give Qingning, who was about to greet Yang Deng, a chance to say hello to him. Instead, she directly said sarcastically, "Wherever I go, I run into you. You are really haunting me. I want to say the same thing. Are you secretly in love with me? I just arrived and you arrived?" Of course, Qin Sheng would not spoil Ningyu. Even though his brother was by his side, based on his understanding of Qin Ning's temperament, he definitely would not get involved in this kind of thing. Upon hearing Qin Sheng's words, Qingyu became even more furious. She said, "I have a crush on you? Are you blind? Didn't you see how pathetic you are? Even if all the men in the world died, I still wouldn't want you." Qin Sheng shrugged and said, "If I were the only man left in the world, do you think I would still care about you?" At first, Yang Deng was a little confused. Then, he became surprised. Anyone could tell that Qin Sheng and Qingyu knew each other. Moreover, judging from their behavior, there should be some conflicts between them. Otherwise, they would quarrel as soon as they met. When it came to bickering, Qin Sheng was always victorious. After all, he majored in philosophy and was good at conning people. How could Qingyu be Qin Sheng's opponent? She shook Qingning's arm in exasperation as she said, "Brother, she bullied me. Help me teach her a lesson." It was obvious that Qingyu had hurt Qin Sheng first. Of course, Qingning could not help her. Moreover, Yang Deng was on the scene. Consequently, he just chuckled and said, "We meet again. My sister is always like this. Don't take her seriously." Qin Sheng smiled faintly. However, Qingyu pestered him and said, "You are siding with an outsider again. I am angry." "Lao Yang, long time no see. How have you been recently?" Qin Ning ignored his sister and greeted Yang Deng smilingly. Yang Deng said with a smile, "You are still the same. I thought you would definitely come, but I didn't expect to meet you here." Hearing this, Qingning burst out laughing. He looked at Qin Sheng and then at his sister. He sighed helplessly as he said, "As for this, you have to ask them. I won't say anything more." Qin Sheng explained casually, "It's just a small misunderstanding. It's just that Miss Qingyu is still angry." Qingyu still wanted to refute, but she was stopped by Qingning. They were here to celebrate the birthday, not to make trouble. There might be other people in the lobby of the hotel. After all, there were many people who came to celebrate Third Master Wu's birthday. There were only 2 or 3 hotels on Mount Putua that were similar to this one. It seems that you are ready to go out? Qing Ning asked casually. Yang Deng took the initiative to invite them. I'm going out for dinner. I guess you haven't eaten yet. Do you want to join us? Of course, Qing Ning did not dare to say yes. Qing Yu and Qin Sheng were enemies. It was good enough that they did not fight. How dare they continue to be entangled with each other? Qing Ning replied, You go ahead. We have eaten on the way. See you later. Yang Deng did not insist and said in a low voice. The 2 of them said their goodbyes. They would still have a chance to meet each other tomorrow. When Qingyu left, she glared at Qin Sheng. However, Qin Sheng completely ignored her. Qingyu had always been a man who was held in the palm of others' hands. Wherever she went, she would be the center of attention. Ignoring her would be the greatest harm to her. The weather tonight was really good. The sea breeze was a little strong. The bright moon was shining in the sky. The sound of waves and the lingering sound of Buddha made people feel very comfortable. Yang Deng took Qin Sheng to eat vegetarian food. On the way, he naturally asked Qin Sheng what had happened to the brother and sister of the Dugu family. Otherwise, why would Qingyu see Qin Sheng as if he was her enemy? However, it seemed that she was not so hostile. Otherwise, Qin Ning would not be so polite. After Qin Sheng told the story of that day, Yang Deng looked surprised and said, I don't know whether you are lucky or not. How could you encounter such a thing? Although Dugu Qingyu is unruly and capricious, she is not evil. She is a very simple girl. Fortunately, she was born in the Dugu family. If she were from an ordinary family, she would probably be miserable. Qin Sheng said with a sad face, I don't know whether she will be miserable or not. Anyway, I am miserable. Now she is entangled with me. I can't guarantee that she will take revenge on me in the future. No matter what, I dare not provoke the Dugu family. Yang Deng joked with Qin Sheng again and said, I will tell you a way to solve this problem. It depends on whether you are willing or not. Qin Sheng stared at Yang Deng and said, I don't think you have anything good to say, right? Qin Sheng stared at Yang Deng and said, A scoundrel's mouth can't spit out ivory. Yang Deng ignored Qin Sheng and said straightforwardly, Anyway, you have broken up with the Lin family. You can't be the son-in-law of the Lin family anymore. Why don't you chase after Dugu Qingyu and become the son-in-law of the Dugu family? Then, this problem will be solved. In the future, you will get whatever you want in Hangzhou. Qin Sheng directly swore and said, Get lost. Yang Deng laughed out loud. He liked to chat and play with Qin Sheng. Recently, his mood had changed. However, his biggest goal was to trick Qin Sheng to his foster father's side. That was why he took Qin Sheng to attend his foster father's birthday party. On the way yesterday, he heard from Qin Sheng that he had prepared 2 gifts for the old master. Yang Deng said that he wanted to have a look. However, Qin Sheng insisted on not letting him. He said that he would reveal the answer at the birthday party. Yang Deng was somewhat looking forward to it. After dinner, Qin Sheng, Yang Deng, and the others went back to the hotel to rest. They had made an appointment to burn incense tomorrow morning. Qin Sheng still believed in faith. Many things seemed superstitious. However, if you experienced it yourself, you would know that many things could not be explained by science. That was why some people joked that what science could not explain was theology. From the perspective of the vast universe, the Earth was just a speck of dust. Or it could not even be regarded as a speck of dust. Naturally, the civilization on the Earth was nothing. In that case, what was the so-called science and theology to the vast universe? Of course, it was a little far. Not long after Qin Sheng went back to the room, Luo Changgong came to chat with Qin Sheng. He had just come back from the old master's place. He also lived in the Radisson Manor. Since Qin Sheng had made him proud that night, Luo Changgong regarded Qin Sheng as a friend. Of course, he knew that Qin Shing had something to gain from him. However, as people at their level, how could they not know the survival rules of this society? Most people approach them for something to gain, right? However, if Qin Shing had something to gain from him, he had to make him approve of him. He had to be willing to be with him. Otherwise, he could support any of these young people. Why did he have to support you? To sum up, Qin Shing had met Luo Changgong's requirements. First, Qin Shing already had a high status. Second, Qin Shing had cooperated with them. Third, Qin Shing had a strong background. Fourth, Qin Shing was good at dealing with people. If Luo Changgong did not help Qin Shing, who would he help? The hotel was booked by Yang Deng in advance. Qin Shing and Gu Qingyang's rooms were next to each other. They were both executive rooms. Qin Shing planned to go to bed after reading for a while. At this moment, he could only chat with Luo Changgong for a while. Luo Changgong asked with interest, "I heard from Lao Ba that you prepared 2 birthday gifts for the old master. He said that you were mysterious. Tell me, what kind of birthday gifts are they?" Qin Shing chuckled and said, "I didn't expect that Brother Luo would be so curious. It's just a painting and a piece of calligraphy." Luo Changgong continued to ask, "Oh, the old master likes calligraphy and painting very much. You just catered to his taste. I wonder which master did you invite for this masterpiece?" Qin Shing did not hide anything. He replied, "The painting is from a master in Hangzhou. Brother Luo, you must know who it is. The calligraphy is my humble work." Luo Changgong said in surprise, "Except for Master Lu, no one in Hangzhou can be regarded as a master. Qin Shing, your relationship with Master Lu is not shallow. It took him several months to coax and pester me to get a painting from him. But what surprised me more is that you know calligraphy. Since you can make a birthday gift for the old master, it must be something big." Qin Shing said deliberately, "I have been influenced by my grandfather since I was a child. Besides, I often go to the Bela Museum to copy. I have made some achievements. Brother Luo, can you help me to see if I can present it to them?" Luo Changgong smiled and said, "I still believe in you. I won't see it first. When I present the gift at the birthday banquet tomorrow, I will know the result." Qin Shing laughed. He did not intend to amaze anyone. He just wanted to attract Third Master Wu's attention. Luo Changgong stood up and said, "All right. I won't disturb you. Go to bed early." Qin Shing walked Luo Changgong out. After reading a few pages of the book, he took a bath and went to bed. In the early morning, Qin Shing was awakened by the sound of the sea. He opened the curtain and saw the lush Mount Putuo, as well as the temples scattered on Mount Putuo. Looking up, he saw the boundless sea. The red sun just appeared. The sky was still a little dim. However, it seemed that today was a good day. Qin Shing, Gu Qingyang, and Yang Deng met in the dining room. At this time, many guests had come for breakfast. After all, most of them came to Mount Putuo to worship the Buddha. Yang Deng met many acquaintances. As expected, they met the brother and sister of the Dugu family, who were also going to worship the Buddha. Qingyu did not bother to say hello to Qin Shing. She directly took something and sat on the bed to eat breakfast. Qingning chatted with Qin Shing and Yang Deng for a while. Mount Putuo was known as the Buddhist kingdom of the sea and sky, so there were many temples. Qin Shing and Yang Deng went to 2 temples randomly and wandered around. When it was almost time, they went back to the hotel. Chapter 280. A Shocking Work, Part 1. The Lin family was undoubtedly the local tyrant in Ningbo. They had allies everywhere who were related to their interests. They had different influences from Third Master Wu, but they each had their own needs. In addition, the collateral relative of the Lin family took this path, and was close to Third Master Wu. His influence in Ningbo was unshakable. That was why the Lin family took the initiative to come to congratulate Third Master Wu. However, the Lin family looked down on Third Master Wu more or less. It was not because they were more powerful than Third Master Wu, but because they took different paths. That was why they sent Lin Zhe instead of the senior. For example, Lin Songhao, the collateral relative of the Lin family, came to congratulate Third Master Wu in person. Lin Zhe came at the right time. He took himself too seriously. After all, those who were going to come had been informed in advance. Third Master Wu already knew whether they would come or not. He had reserved seats for them. What did it matter if they came early or late? However, he did not expect that he would meet Qin Sheng, the initiator who had troubled the Lin family in the past half a year, at the right time. Lin Zhe brought the butler who had knocked Qin Sheng down. He had been in the Lin family for his whole life and joined the Lin family when the old master was still alive. After Lin Zhe got out of the car, he muttered, "Why is this old guy still alive? He is hiding in Putuo Mountain, but he is still not quiet. He has to make such a big noise. Damn it." Since there was no one around, Lin Zhe just complained casually. Because his cousin, who was a distant relative, was close to Third Master Wu and knew how to build a good relationship with his family, he was doing very well in Ningbo now. Many people compared him with his cousin. Naturally, the result was self-evident. His cousin was an outstanding big shot, while he was just a good-for-nothing who relied on his father's generation and did not have any achievements. "Lin Zhe, you should be careful here. Don't let others hear you," Uncle Fu reminded him kindly. Lin Zhe was just talking nonsense. He knew that Third Master Wu's trusted subordinates and adopted sons were very capable. If they heard what he said, he might not even know how he died. Consequently, he smiled awkwardly as he said, "Uncle Fu, I know." At this time, Qin Sheng and Yang Deng drove back. Qin Sheng did not notice Lin Zhe and Uncle Fu. When he was about to get out of the car, Yang Deng suddenly pointed out of the window and said, "Tut tut, Qin Sheng, look who that is. Am I right?" Through the glass, Qin Sheng looked into the distance and recognized his brother-in-law, Lin Zhe, and Uncle Fu, who had extraordinary skills. His expression changed slightly. He squinted and stared at Lin Zhe, but did not say anything. Since Yang Deng reminded him yesterday, he had been prepared to meet. Of these two, "Do you want to go down and say hello?" Yang Deng said playfully. Qin Sheng came to his senses and shook his head as he said, "Why bother? We will definitely see each other in a while." Yang Deng of 2, Yang 2 of the Qin and family, 1. The 2, 1. 2 1, 2 1. Zhe this time, Yang Deng would welcome the guests at the entrance of the banquet hall with the others. After all, he was Third Master Wu's foster son. Qin Sheng and Gu Qingyang went back to their rooms first. They planned to go there when it was almost time. Although Third Master Wu's 70th birthday was not that high profile, 10 tables of guests still came. Basically, all the tycoons in Jiangsu, Zhejiang, and Shanghai had sent their representative. Some of them were brothers and nephews. Some of them came in person. Some of them were the heads of their companies. Some of them only sent their subordinates to send gifts. It might be due to their identities. Third Master Wu was sitting in the VIP room at the back, where several of his close friends were sitting. Their identities might be very ordinary, but they were the closest to Third Master Wu. As for Yang Deng, Luo Changgong, and the others as the hosts, they were all welcoming the guests at the entrance of the banquet hall. They knew these guests more or less. After exchanging greetings with them, they welcomed them into the banquet hall. The guests came and went in an endless stream, which was quite lively. This was an affirmation of Third Master Wu's life and respect for his status. Qin Sheng felt it was almost time, so he went to the banquet hall with the birthday gift. Gu Qingyang stayed in the room to rest. He definitely could not go to such a scene. In fact, Third Master Wu also arranged a birthday party for them in the banquet hall next to the banquet hall. However, Gu Qingyang did not like this kind of bustle, so he did not go there. When Qin Sheng appeared at the door of the banquet hall, Yang Deng and Luo Changgong immediately greeted him. Luo Changgong said politely, "Qin Sheng, you are here." Yang Deng smiled gently at Qin Sheng. After all, they were very familiar with each other. Yang Deng took the initiative to introduce a man in a suit and leather shoes beside him. "Brother, this is Qin Sheng, whom I told you about." The man was half a head taller than Yang Deng, handsome and good-looking. He looked like a mixed-race man. He combed a fashionable hairstyle, probably with a lot of wax. His eyes were full of arrogance, and he was not as approachable as Yang Deng. Qin Sheng could tell from Yang Deng's tone that this should be another adopted son of Third Master Wu, who was much more excellent than Yang Deng. Now he was in Shanghai dealing with Third Master Wu's affairs. "Welcome." The man just smiled and nodded. Qin Sheng also smiled politely and did not talk too much. After all, there were other guests behind them. Everyone was busy. Yang Deng led Qin Sheng into the banquet hall. "This is my brother, Wu Yongchuan. He has always been in Shanghai. There are too many people today. If you have a chance, you can meet him next time," Yang Deng said casually. Qin Sheng said in a low voice, "Thank you." Yang Deng led Qin Sheng to sit at a table near the side, which was in a different direction from the Lin family. If Lin Zhe had been paying attention to the door, he would definitely have seen Qin Sheng. However, Lin Zhe only cared about chatting with a beauty at the same table, so he had no time to pay attention to this. However, the brother and sister of the Dugu family saw Qin Sheng. They were arranged to sit at the table next to the main table, which showed how much Third Master Wu valued the Dugu family. Of course, these seats were arranged for a reason. Not everyone could sit there casually. Qin Sheng's seat was taken by Yang Deng through the back door. "Brother, what's the background of this Qin Sheng? Why do we run into him everywhere?" Qingyu was so angry that she couldn't beat him up. Qingning asked on purpose, "Don't tell me you really like him. Although I don't know too much about his bottom line, I know something. He is a young talent. If you really like him, I can help you. Anyway, there is no threshold in our family. As long as you like him, it's okay." "Dugu Qingning, are you kidding me? I like him? You might as well ask me to jump into the Huangpu River." Qingyu snorted. Qingning found it funny and said, "Then why do you pay so much attention to him?" Okay. I don't want to argue with you. I'll shut up, okay?" Qingyu turned her head and just played with her mobile phone. At 12 o'clock sharp, all the guests who were supposed to come had arrived. The old monk had also sent someone over. It was still his old acquaintance, Yuan Ku, and the old monk's grandson, Chu Huanxi. The two of them were really close. It seemed that Yuan Ku was very good at flattering this young master, and served him very well. They did not notice that Qin Sheng was sitting at the same table with the Dugu siblings. It seemed that the brother and sister of the Dugu family did not like Chu Huanxi. Qingning behaved well, and kept chatting with Yuan Ku and Chu Huanxi perfunctorily. However, Qingyu directly turned her head away, and did not even bother to say hello to them. Chu Huanxi wanted to talk to her several times, but Qingyu directly ignored him. Of course, she knew Chu Huanxi for a long time. Of course, she knew what kind of person Chu Huanxi was. Chu Huanxi was so angry that he could do nothing about it. If it were other women, he might have already surrendered to her, or he could use some means to get her. However, this was a woman of the Dugu family. Unless he had eaten a bear's heart and a leopard's heart, he might be directly beaten to death by the old master. There were 10 people sitting at Qin Sheng's table. On the left side was a president of a company, and on the right side was a mature woman. The mature woman took the initiative to chat with Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng also teased her when he was free. At this moment, after a piece of warm music, the host of the birthday party appeared. He was a host from Zhujiang TV. Everyone had to give face to Third Master Wu. He was very familiar with this kind of occasion and started the procedure step by step. At first, an opening speech set off the atmosphere. When the atmosphere reached the climax, the host shouted in an excited tone, "Then let's invite tonight's birthday star, Old Master Wu," with warm applause. The audience burst into thunderous applause. All the guests stood up. The door of the VIP room was pushed open. Old Master Wu, who was dressed in a tang suit and supported himself with a walking stick, walked slowly into the banquet hall surrounded by his 2 adopted sons, his successors, and his trusted subordinate. The host also went up to him in a hurry. With a smile on his face, Old Master Wu seemed to be in a good state of mind. He was helped to sit on the purple sandalwood chair in the center of the stage. Everyone stood beside him, and behind him were several waiters in Cheongsam. The host smiled and greeted the old master. After chatting with him for a while, he handed the microphone to Old Master Wu. Looking at all the guests present, Old Master Wu smiled and said, "Thank you all for coming to support me. Please sit down." This was the first time for Qin Sheng to see Third Master Wu. He was no different from an ordinary old man in his twilight years. His face was full of wrinkles and gullies, and there were many age spots. His hair had been shaved long ago, and he had a long beard. He really looked like an otherworldly master. People who didn't know him would think that he was not Third Master Wu, but an old monk. If they saw the old monk, they would think that their identities might have been really reversed. I have lived for 70 years in vain. Originally, I didn't want to suffer like this. However, these children insisted on holding this birthday party for me. I know that it is their kind intention, so I won't refuse them. But I am sorry to trouble you. I don't have much to say. Whether you are old friends or new friends, don't blame me for not being a good host. Just enjoy yourselves. Third Master Wu had long disliked this kind of occasion. He was just going through the motions. After all, he was the protagonist. If he didn't say anything, everyone would definitely feel uncomfortable. Everyone applauded again. The host continued with the next program. That was the birthday party, which was also the highlight of today's birthday party. Of course, Third Master Wu's 2 adopted sons, his successors, and his trusted subordinates first, followed by the guests today. Of course, some guests directly handed their birthday gifts to the receptionists outside. Maybe they didn't want to show off, or maybe they didn't want to be high profile. Some guests carefully prepared their birthday gifts, intending to amaze everyone here or leave a deep impression on Third Master Wu. Chapter 281. At this moment, the atmosphere in the banquet hall was very lively. Third Master Wu's 2 foster sons and many trusted subordinates had already come down from the stage and started to congratulate Third Master Wu according to their ages. Everyone had carefully prepared birthday gifts. Compared with the guests on the scene, these birthday gifts were, of course, carefully selected. Naturally, they were all valuable. The first one to appear was a middle-aged man who seemed to be in his 50s. He was similar to Third Master Wu. He was slightly hunched and had some white hair on his temples. He looked calm and held an exquisite jade guanyin in his hands. Third Master Wu believed in Buddhism. Of course, he catered to Third Master Wu. He knelt down slowly and said in a low voice, "Old Master, I wish you happiness as vast as the East Sea and longevity as long as the South Mountain." Third Master Wu stroked his beard gently and said with a smile, "Good, good, good. Boss, you are so considerate." The jade guanyin was also shown on the big screen. Then a waiter came forward to receive the birthday gift and put it on the long table next to him respectfully. The boss stood up and stood next to the old master. There was also a man standing on the right side of the old master. This man did not attend the birthday party. He just stood there expressionlessly and looked at everyone calmly. According to Qin Sheng's deduction, this should be the old master's personal bodyguard or something. He was definitely not a kind person. The royal sister next to Qin Sheng sighed and said, "Boss, what do you mean?" Qin Sheng was a little curious and asked, "Sister Yang, what do you mean?" After chatting with the beauty for a while, Qin Sheng already knew her identity. She was a representative sent by a tycoon in Suzhou. She was wearing a slim black dress and looked very feminine. Sister Yang was surprised and said, "Don't you know?" Qin Sheng shook his head and said, "I really don't know." Sister Yang explained slowly, in the past, the boss was the most valued successor of Third Master Wu. However, he was a little impatient. A few years ago, he roped in a group of senior members and wanted to fight for power. In the end, he was suppressed by those young people. The old master was very disappointed with him and purged a large number of senior members. Then these people could be promoted later. It was not until then that Qin Sheng understood that there was such a relationship. However, it was understandable. Wasn't it the same in any circle? The man on Qin Sheng's right chimed in as he said, "A man who is never content is like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. If some people go up, some will go down. Only mobility can guarantee the passion of this circle. I even suspect that this was a trap set by the old master back then. He came from Shanghai and was sent here by a big boss in Shanghai." In the early years, he had been guided by Third Master Wu. Qin Sheng said thoughtfully, "What Mr. Qian said makes sense." What happened next was more interesting for Qin Sheng. The two friends on his left and right kept explaining to Qin Sheng. When Qin Sheng saw the man in a suit and leather shoes in the club last time, Qin Sheng could not wait to ask, "What do you think of him?" Sister Yang said with a smile, "Yuan Zhou, Boss Yuan, if he wasn't married, I would also want to marry him. He is one of the most powerful bosses in this circle. He is currently in charge of the top nightclub in Hangzhou. What do you think? What kind of person can handle such a situation? Third Master Wu thinks highly of him. It is said that he has taken over the most resources and is doing the best now." Qin Sheng nodded silently. No wonder he was so arrogant and did not take Boss Hu, Luo Changgong, and Yang Deng seriously. After a while, it was Luo Changgong's turn again. This time, it was Mr. Qian on Qin Sheng's left side who said happily, "Brother Luo is the most popular person in this circle. He knows people from all walks of life and his strength is also at the top. After all, he has the gray resources in the past. The most interesting thing about him is that he doesn't get along well with Yuan Ku from the old monk's side." Of course, Qin Sheng knew all these things. It seemed that Brother Luo was quite popular. The birthday gift that Brother Luo gave to the old master today was a string of Buddha bead. It should not be simple. After a while, Yang Deng's eldest brother showed up. His birthday gift was a bronze sword from the Warring States period. Although it had been rusted, it was obviously very valuable. Little Chuan, he's a eligible bachelor. He's good at doing things and behaving himself. Besides, he has a high IQ and a high degree of education. Now, he's in charge of the investments in this circle. He's in charge of the old master's money, and many people's money in this circle are also managed by him. He's the god of fortune. He's the closest to Yuan Zhou. Compared with Wu Yongchuan, Yang Deng was like a loser and a tall, rich, and handsome guy. This guy only knew how to fight and kill every day. Looking at his attire, he reckoned that he had picked up a lot of girls in Shanghai. Maybe they all wanted to perform well in front of the old master. The birthday gifts of each of them made all the people present exclaim from time to time. It could be seen how much this group of people had spent. Qin Sheng really wanted to know that the birthday gifts of the old master could be worth tens of millions of yuan. How awesome! The last one to congratulate the old master was naturally Yang Deng. This guy was the youngest. He held a box in his hand. Qin Sheng still didn't know what gift he had prepared. Yang Deng chuckled and said, "Godfather, I wish you a long and happy life. You may live to 100 years old and be healthy and able to walk like the wind." This is the sarira of an eminent monk that I got from Mount Wutai a few years ago. May the Buddha be merciful and bless you. The old master stroked his beard and said with a kind smile, "Get up." I have to pay tribute to you later. You are such a good kid. The old master was polite to many people, but he was quite casual when talking to Yang Deng. It could be seen that he liked Yang Deng very much. This was also because he had always let Yang Deng be free and did not deliberately ask him to do anything. Yang Deng is a weirdo in this circle, but the old master likes him the most. He often stays on Mount Putua. If it were someone else, he would have been driven away long ago, Sister Yang said with a smile. Mr. Qian echoed, Beauty Yang is right. Yang Deng is not ambitious or disgusting. So the old master is willing to keep him by his side. Others don't have the same treatment. Qin Sheng listened and smiled without saying anything. No wonder Yang Deng could have a say in front of the old master. Others might be powerful, but Yang Deng was the favorite of the old master. As long as the old master was still alive, others had to take him seriously. After Yang Deng congratulated the old master, it was time for the guests to congratulate him. Of course, they were all voluntary and followed the table number. Luo Changgong, Yang Deng, and the others all stood behind the old master. After all, the old master did not know some of them. They had to explain to them. Otherwise, how could the old master thank them? As expected, the first table was occupied by Chu Huanxi and Yuan Ku. Their birthday gifts were carefully prepared. After all, they were here on behalf of the old monk. The 4 treasures of the study were all antique. The old master liked to practice calligraphy and draw. Chu Huanxi acted very obediently and said, I wish Grandpa Wu a long life. Also, I want to say hello to Grandpa Wu on behalf of my grandfather. He said that he would come to Mount Putua to drink tea and talk about Buddhism with Grandpa Wu in a few days. This guy liked to put on a show. He would start a show in front of different people. Yuan Ku stood beside him. He had no right to interrupt. Old Master Wu said with a smile, Huanxi, you have grown so tall. When I saw you last time, you were only in your teens. Time really doesn't spare us. We are all old. The world belongs to you young people. Grandpa Wu, you are not old. You are still young, Chu Huanxi said sweetly. Third Master Wu waved his hand and said, Boy, sit down and eat. Okay. Chu Huanxi left with Yuan Ku happily. After a while, it was the brother and sister of the Dugu family again. Dugu Qingyu did not follow Dugu Qingning up. She did not like to show her face in public. It was boring to be stared at by a group of people. It was better to play King of Glory on her mobile phone. After the solitary young man, who represented the Dugu family to congratulate Chu Huanxi, went on with the congratulatory process. Qin Sheng gradually got to know Chu Huanxi, whether he knew or not, because there were 2 senior gossipers sitting next to him. Their evaluation of Chu Huanxi was that this guy was very insidious and people should be careful when they met him. Their comments on Dugu Qingning were good. He was a young talent and the future of the Dugu family. Then, as expected, Qin Sheng saw his brother-in-law. He came up to the stage with a birthday gift. The birthday speech was simple. The birthday gift was a beautiful portrait of Guanyin. Qin Sheng asked deliberately, How about this one? The son of the Lin family's Lin Chongting. Alas, he's just a playboy. His half-sister, on the other hand, is very outstanding. However, she made a big joke of the Lin family and then disappeared completely, Sister Yang said with interest. Qin Sheng did not ask about the joke, because he was the joke. Birthday congratulations were so boring. Qin Sheng chatted with the 2 gossipers, drank wine, and watched the fun. They were waiting for him to come up. Half an hour later, it was finally their table. No birthday congratulations were offered. After waiting for a while, Qin Sheng finally stood up slowly with 2 birthday gifts in his arms. The big beauty Yang and Mr. Qian, who was more gossipy than the big sister, were a little surprised. They did not expect that Qin Sheng, who had chatted with them for such a long time, would offer birthday congratulations. Under everyone's gaze, Qin Sheng walked to Third Master Wu unhurriedly. On the way, He looked at many people, including Chu Huanxi Yuan Ku, the brother and sister of the Dugu family, and of course, his brother-in-law. After Chu Huanxi and Yuan Ku saw him, they stared at Qin Sheng without blinking. As for the Dugu siblings, Qingning nodded at Qin Sheng with a smile. Qingyu glanced at Qin Sheng and snorted directly. Then she lowered her head and continued to play the game. As for his brother-in-law, Lin Zhe, he did not expect to meet Qin Sheng here at all. He just chatted with the beauty at the same table and hit on her. Maybe he could hook up with her today. At this time, Qin Sheng slightly lowered his head with a smile and said, "I'm Qin Sheng. I wish old Master Wu a long life. I wish you a happy life every year. This is the painting of an old steed in the stable that I asked for from a master. I hope you like it." Yang Deng quickly went forward and said, "Foster father, he is Qin Sheng I told you about. You should remember him, right?" The old master looked at Qin Sheng and nodded silently. "I know you. Good, very good." This was old Master Wu's evaluation of Qin Sheng. The two waiters quickly went forward and opened the painting of an old steed in the stable. Then a beautiful painting was unfolded. After seeing the true appearance of this painting of an old steed in the stable, the old master stroked his beard gently and could not help sighing with emotion. "Good painting, good painting!" all the people present also exclaimed. In addition to the exquisite painting of an old steed in the stable, they also noticed the inscription at the lower right corner. This was Master Lu's painting, and the words in front of the inscription were quite thought-provoking. "It should be the work of our little friend, Qin Sheng." Qin Sheng was so influential that he could actually invite Master Lu. Who on earth was he? Both Chu Huanxi and Yuan Ku squinted their eyes. Dugu Qingning seemed to be thinking about something. Qin Sheng's two gossipy friends looked shocked. The whole hall was filled with whispers. Lin Zhe was chatting with the beauty in full swing. He did not know what was going on, but he subconsciously looked at the stage of the birthday party. When he saw the familiar figure, Lin Zhe suddenly stood up without any warning, as if he had seen a devil. He was stunned and stared at Qin Sheng. It was him. It was actually him. All the people at the table were startled by Lin Zhe and did not know what was going on. Qin Sheng did not notice Lin Zhe at all, nor did he care about others' comments on this painting. Instead, he continued to say, "I am not talented, but I know a little about calligraphy. I know that you like calligraphy, old master, so I wrote a piece of calligraphy for you to appreciate." Third Master Wu was still admiring the painting of an old steed in the stable. Among all the masters in the Jiangsu and Zhejiang provinces, old Lu was the only one whom he liked. He said casually, "Oh, it turns out that you are also good at calligraphy." Another two beautiful waiters came up. They took the piece of calligraphy from Qin Sheng's hand, opened it gently, and then unfolded it slowly. Old Master Wu raised his head casually. He had seen countless people's calligraphy, but few of them could attract his attention, including those so-called calligraphy masters. Moreover, Qin Sheng was an unknown young man. How could he have such great skills? Consequently, he did not take it seriously at all. However, when he raised his head and saw the first line, the old master's expression froze at this moment. He was completely dumbfounded. When he read half of the line, Third Master Wu could no longer restrain the excitement in his heart. He suddenly stood up while trembling. Chapter 282. Don't Go calligraphy had been passed down for more than 1,000 years. It had its own unique charm because writing itself was a kind of art. Many people yearned for it, but from ancient times until now there were only a few people who were able to achieve great success and leave traces in history. Wang Shiji, the master of calligraphy, Huai Su, Zhang Su. The four masters of regular script, Ouyang Sun, Yan Zhenqing, Lu Gongquan, Zhao Mingfu, Su Huang, Mi Kai, and so on. Every dynasty had left many treasures. For example, Wang Shiji's preface to the collection of Orchid Pavilion, which was regarded as the first semi-cursive in the world. It was said that it was buried with Li Shimin, Emperor Taizong of the Tang dynasty, or Li Ji Wu Zetian and Li Ji Qian Mausoleum. Some people were willing to dig his grave, and some people only wanted to see it once in their whole lives. However, not everyone could be lucky. In today's era, even the most accomplished people had only learned a little bit of what their predecessors had done. Most of them were clowns who tried to show off their slight skill in front of an expert. Those who had reached a higher level knew very little. Not everyone was a calligrapher, but the things they wrote were laughable. Qin Shing did not dare to say that he was very capable, because he just learned a little bit. However, he was much better than those so-called calligraphers, which was why he was so confident. After all, he had been influenced by what he saw and heard since he was a child. He had a natural advantage. Besides, he was quite talented, so he had made some achievement. That was also the reason why Qin Shing had spent so much energy on this piece of calligraphy. When Third Master Wu saw the first line, he was dumbfounded. When Third Master Wu finished reading half of the calligraphy, he stood up tremblingly and shouted that it was a masterpiece that could shock the world. Qin Shing estimated that he could only write such a masterpiece in his whole life. Nowadays, it was not like in ancient times. As long as one could write, it was enough. After all, most people did not know much about calligraphy, especially cursive script. Maybe they could even recognize some of these characters. Seeing Third Master Wu making such a big noise, they looked over in confusion. However, of course, there were also experts among them. When the camera projected Qin Shing's calligraphy on the big screen, many guests at the scene also exclaimed. This piece of cursive calligraphy was really like a flowing dragon and a flowing snake. It made people reluctant to part with it and was pleasing to the eye. It was really good calligraphy, good calligraphy. Staring at Qin Shing's calligraphy, Dugu Qingning sighed with emotion as he said, "Awesome. He's really awesome." He knew more or less about Qin Shing's calligraphy. After all, the old master in his family also liked to practice calligraphy. He pursued to calm his qi, concentrate his spirit, and be an integral part of nature. Qingning muttered, "What the hell is this? It's like scribbling. Why can't I recognize any of the characters? What's so great about it? It's totally a lie." Humph. Qingning shook his head and said, You really don't understand. If this piece of cursive calligraphy was written by a master, do you know how much it would fetch if it was auctioned? How much? Even if you give me 50 cents, I won't take it, Qingyu said, curling her lips. Qingning said slowly, at least 10 million yuan. If he told Qingyu how good the calligraphy was, she definitely wouldn't be able to appreciate it. It would be better to tell her which hero in honor of kings was more powerful. However, if he told her how much the calligraphy could be sold for, of course, she would be able to understand whether the calligraphy was good or bad. So when Qingyu heard her brother said that the calligraphy could be sold for tens of million yuan, she immediately became speechless. How could it be so good? She was not a fair-skinned, rich, and beautiful girl who knew nothing. She had been drawing since she was a child and liked music and so on. She was more or less artistic. Since it could surprise Third Master Wu and so many guests at the scene, who would believe that it was not good? Third Master Wu stared at the calligraphy. He still hadn't come to his senses. It seemed that he was immersed in Qin Shing's realm. The people standing behind him were also quite surprised. They didn't expect that a piece of calligraphy could make the old master so excited. Some of them could see that the calligraphy was amazing, but some still didn't understand. Qin Shing's brother-in-law, Lin Zhe, was not paying attention to the painting. He only had eyes for Qin Shing. Lin Zhe didn't care about the beauty next to him. After coming to his senses, he didn't care about the atmosphere at the scene. He directly left the table. He wanted to tell his father the news quickly and see how the Lin family would deal with it. Chu Huanxi and Yuan Ku were both ordinary people. They didn't know much about calligraphy. They didn't understand other people's reactions. Chu Wanshi muttered, "It's just a piece of lousy calligraphy. Is it that good? If I had known this, I would have found a piece at home." Yuanku analyzed calmly as he said, "Young master, don't look down on Qin Xing. He is quite capable. Not everyone can make third master Wu like a piece of calligraphy that he wrote personally so much." Qin Xing nodded. Third master Wu finally came to his senses. He asked in a low voice, "Is this really your calligraphy? I dare not hide it from you, old master." "When I woke up, I didn't dare to believe it myself," Qin Xing said honestly. "This kind of state could only be encountered by chance. He just got a glimpse of the profound meaning by luck that night." Qin Xing also catered to his taste. This was a passage in the Prajnaparamita Heart Sutra, when Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva was deep in the Prajnaparamita. He saw that the 5 aggregates were empty and past all sufferings. Relic, form is not different from emptiness, and emptiness is not different from form. Form is emptiness, and emptiness is form. It is also the same for perception, thinking, action, and consciousness. Relic is the emptiness of all dharmas. It is neither born nor destroyed, neither dirty nor clean, neither increasing nor decreasing. Qin Xing knew that with his energy, it was impossible for him to write a complete Prajnaparamita Heart Sutra. So he only wrote half of it. Even so, when Qin Xing finished writing, he had exhausted all his energy. He directly fell asleep and did not come to his senses until a few days later. Third Master Wu was immersed in it and said with some regret, "You are drunk. You are learning from your old friend. I really didn't expect that such a shocking piece of work was actually made by a nobody like you. Interesting, interesting. It is a pity that you only wrote the first half." Qin Xing replied in a neither servile nor overbearing manner, "I am afraid that even if I write it, it will be somewhat unsatisfactory. It can only be encountered by chance but not sought." Old Master Wu nodded silently and said, "Well, I will accept this piece of calligraphy. I am afraid that if I tell others, no one will dare to believe that it is your calligraphy." Qin Xing left sensibly and did not say anything more. He had achieved his purpose. If he continued to stand here, it would be a little conspicuous. Yang Deng, who was standing behind, was secretly delighted. The 2 birthday gifts that Qin Xing had carefully prepared had left a deep impression on the old master today. No wonder he did not let them see it. They could still understand that painting. Even if they did not understand it, Master Lu would endorse it for Qin Xing. However, even if they saw this piece of calligraphy, they probably would not understand it. It was terrible to be uneducated. Qin Xing got down from the stage and walked to his seat. He could feel those people's hot and puzzled eyes. He did not care about being sized up by others. However, when he looked at the seat of his brother-in-law, Lin Zhe, not far away, it was already empty. Qin Xing smiled and said nothing. Since they already knew that he was in Hangzhou and there was still no movement, then let him take the initiative to make it clear. When Qin Xing returned to his seat, everyone at the table began to greet Qin Xing politely. Big Beauty Yang, the royal sister, said politely, "Little Qin, I did not expect you to hide so deeply. You are so bad. Do you have time today? Can you accompany me to chat in the evening?" If she took the initiative to come to the door, ordinary men would have already fallen in love with her. However, Qin Xing was not interested in it. He could insist on keeping the last distance from Lin Su because of the principle in his heart. How could he casually fool around outside? Besides, even if he wanted to fool around, Big Beauty Yang was not beautiful enough. Mr. Qian was more straightforward. He smiled and said, "Qin Xing, come to Shanghai if you have the chance. I will treat you to a drink at that time." "Thank you, Mr. Qian. I will definitely go." Qin Xing did not refuse. More than 10 minutes later, the birthday party finally came to an end. Third Master Wu returned to the main table with his 2 foster sons and many trusted subordinates. Third Master Wu laughed and chatted with his friends and accepted everyone's blessings. The others began to propose a toast to everyone on behalf of Third Master Wu, thanking everyone for coming. Luo Changgong and Yang Deng walked together. When they arrived at Qin Shing's table, he first toasted everyone. Then he stood behind Qin Shing and joked, "You are in the limelight today. Is this considered as the limelight?" Qin Shing said disapprovingly. Luo Changgong laughed and said, "Many people are talking about you. The old master is still talking about your calligraphy. Is it considered as not being in the limelight? Well, don't show off. When we go back to Hangzhou, you treat us to a drink. We are going to do our work now." Yang Deng smiled bitterly. Then he and Luo Changgong said goodbye to everyone and left. When the birthday party was almost over, Qin Shing stood up and was ready to leave. He had to go back to Hangzhou to pick up Lin Su. Big Beauty Yang and Mr. Qian also followed him out. They did not know Qin Shing's background, but they had a good chat today. Of course, they had to maintain this relationship. As soon as they walked to the corridor, Lin Zhe and Uncle Fu blocked Qin Shing's way and said in a weird tone, "Qin Shing, it didn't occur to me that I would meet you here. You are really bold. How dare you come to Ningbo? How should I call you, brother-in-law?" When Lin Zhe left, Qin Shing knew that he had already known, so he directly provoked him. The word brother-in-law was like a slap in his face. Lin Zhe restrained his impulse and said, "Brother-in-law? Don't think about entering the Lin family in your life. Since when do you have the final say in the Lin family?" Qin Shing said disapprovingly. Big Beauty Yang and Mr. Qian were stunned. They did not know why Qin Shing had a grudge against the Lin family in Ningbo. However, the content of his words was somewhat thought-provoking. They knew that it was not appropriate to stay here, so they just said goodbye to Qin Shing and left first. Qin Shing smiled and nodded. Lin Zhe said coldly, "I don't have time to talk nonsense with you. My second uncle wants to see you. Follow me or don't blame me for being rude." Of course, Qin Shing would not go. Who knew whether it was true or not? This was Ningbo, the base of the Lin family. He would not take the risk. He directly refused, no. Lin Zhe was very angry with Qin Shing. If it were not for Qin Shing, the Lin family and the Yen family would have been connected by marriage. He could live like a fish in water in Shanghai. Qin Shing completely ruined all his plans. Lin Chongting wanted to let his second brother meet Qin Shing, which was the original plan. So Lin Chongha asked Lin Zhe to invite Qin Shing. However, Lin Zhe would not be so polite, and his attitude was very tough. Chapter 283. An unexpected gain. Lin Chongting had his own plan. After all, he was now the head of the Lin family. It had been more than half a year. No matter how hard he tried, he could not go back to the beginning. The most important thing was that Lin Su's attitude was too firm, which he did not expect at all. That was why a series of things happened later. Secondly, the old lady was very dissatisfied with him and avoided seeing him for half a year. Of course, Lin Chongting had to make a choice. He could not offend the Yen family. If he wanted Lin Su back, he could only make a breakthrough through Qin Shing. Of course, he would not fight with Qin Shing to the end like he did in the past. This was also the reason why he asked Lin Chongha to talk to Qin Shing. However, Lin Zhe did not know his father's intention. He thought that his father would continue to torture Qin Shing for the sake of the Lin family, so he would not be so polite to him. He definitely did not know how his father could not have fatherly love for his sister. He just hid it deep in his heart. Because he was a man and the head of the Lin family, he had to hide all his feelings and could not be too direct. If he treated Lin Su too well, Lin Su would have a hard time in the Lin family. His first wife and her collateral relatives would not let Lin Su have an easy time. Moreover, Qin Shing had beaten Lin Zhe in front of so many people in the Lin family. Lin Zhe was a narrow-minded man. He had always kept this hatred in his heart. How could he be polite to Qin Sheng? Lin Zhe did not take Qin Sheng seriously at all. Anyway, whether Qin Sheng was willing or not, Lin Zhe had to go with him today. If the soft approach did not work, he could only resort to the hard approach. Uncle Fu knew that today was Third Master Wu's birthday party and he could not make trouble. However, since Lin Zhe had ordered him to do so, as a servant of the Lin family, he could only listen to his master. Nevertheless, he still said politely, "Why do you have to do this? Come with us." "Uncle Fu, are you going to fight with me?" Qin Sheng said confidently. Last time he was taken down by Uncle Fu in the Lin family, it was because he was injured at that time. If he really fought with Uncle Fu might not be able to defeat him. Uncle Fu had no choice and no way out. He could only say, "Excuse me." Before he finished speaking, Uncle Fu grabbed Qin Sheng's shoulder with his golden cicada hand. Qin Sheng sank his qi into his dantian and exerted strength in his lower limbs. He pushed Uncle Fu's arm away with one hand. Uncle Fu naturally would not give up. After failing to grab Qin Sheng's shoulder twice in a row, he directly grabbed Qin Sheng's arm, wanting to pull him out. The corner of Qin Sheng's mouth was slightly disdainful. He was no longer the Qin Sheng of the past. Then, he took a step forward and lifted his knee to force Uncle Fu's lower body. Uncle Fu could only retreat. Qin Sheng's legs were stuck in between him. He forcefully pulled Uncle Fu's arm back and then elbowed Uncle Fu's chest. Uncle Fu could only let go of Qin Sheng's arm and then use his arm to block. At this moment, Qin Sheng suddenly lifted his leg and kicked Uncle Fu's abdomen. Uncle Fu had no chance to dodge and could only jump away in a hurry. He was almost hit. "What are you doing? Where do you think this is?" The fight between Uncle Fu and Qin Sheng had attracted a lot of guests. They surrounded the two sides of the aisle. Such a big movement had also alarmed the hosts inside. Yuan Zhou rushed out with Wu Yongchuan and several others and shouted sternly. Lin Zhe answered recklessly, "This is the Lin family's business. It has nothing to do with you." What a big mouth! When did the Lin family of Ningbo bully us? Of course, Yang Deng was on Qin Sheng's side. He fought back without hesitation and instantly took sides with them. Lin Zhe was embarrassed and did not know how to answer. Wu Yongchuan said in a low voice, "What's going on?" Qin Sheng did not want to embarrass his brother-in-law too much. After all, he was Lin Su's brother. So he answered, "It's just a small misunderstanding." However, Yang Deng did not let it go. He said, "If you want to make trouble here, you should weigh your own weight. Don't go for wool and come home shorn. I won't be so polite to you." Lin Zhe's expression changed. He stared at the group of people opposite and thought for a while. Then he shouted to Qin Sheng, "You have guts. Let's wait and see. Uncle Fu, let's go." After saying that, Lin Zhe left with Uncle Fu. Of course, he would not stay here to make trouble. The farce ended like this. Yuan Zhou and Wu Yongchuan stared at Qin Sheng for a while, and then went back with others. The guests had also left, leaving only Yang Deng and Qin Sheng standing there. Yang Deng frowned and said, "What's wrong? The Lin family has started to make trouble for you?" Qin Sheng nodded with a frown and then sighed. This was something that would happen sooner or later. "After it ends, you go back to Hangzhou with me. I don't believe that the Lin family dares to hurt you." Yang Deng snorted. Qin Sheng frowned and said, "It should be fine. I have to go back to Hangzhou early. Lin Su will come back from a business trip tonight. I will go to the airport to pick her up." Yang Deng was stunned for a while and then he replied, "Well, the old master just told me that he wants to talk to you after the birthday party. I guess you can't leave for a while." "The old master wants to see me?" Qin Sheng said in surprise. Yang Deng smiled bitterly and nodded. On hearing this, Qin Sheng hesitated for a while. It seemed that time was a little tight. However, he could only do this. If he couldn't go back in time, He could only ask Chang Baji or someone else to pick up Lin Su. I'm going to have a rest first. I'll call you later. Qin Shing had to stay. After saying that, he went back to his room. The birthday party had come to an end. The guests started to leave. Third Master Wu was also sent back to his courtyard by the sea. Qin Shing rested in his room for a while. Yang Deng called him and told him that he was waiting for him in the hall. Qin Shing checked out of the room with Gu Qingyang. Then, led by Yang Deng, they went straight to Third Master Wu's courtyard. It was not far from a temple. Every day, Third Master Wu would go there to hang out, chat and drink tea with the master. On the road outside the courtyard, there were still several cars parked there. They belonged to Third Master Wu's trusted big shot. Of course, they wouldn't leave so hurriedly. Qin Shing asked Gu Qingyang to wait outside. He followed Yang Deng into the courtyard. Outside the courtyard, the boss, who was over 50 years old, was chatting with several men. Not far away, Yuan Zhou and Wu Yongchuan were also smoking and chatting. After Qin Shing came in, they all looked at Qin Shing. Qin Shing just nodded to them. Yang Deng led Qin Shing into the study. On the rosewood desk in the study, Qin Shing's calligraphy was placed. Third Master Wu was playing with a string of Buddha beads in his hand and appreciating it with a smile on his face. For him, the most amazing birthday gift today was Qin Shing's calligraphy. Yang Deng said respectfully, "Foster father, Qin Shing is here." Old Master Wu raised his head, waved his hand to the others and said, "You can leave now." Third Master. The bodyguard of Third Master Wu frowned and said. Third Master Wu found it funny and said, "What can happen?" Since Third Master Wu had said so, they could only do as he said and left the study slowly. Third Master Wu looked at Qin Shing and said, "I already knew you last year. At that time, I had some grudges with Han Guoping. When he was in trouble, of course I would hit him when he was down. This has always been my style. Don't think that I'm a vegetarian and pray to Buddha now. I'm not that kind of generous person who will take revenge when there is a grudge. So I sent Yang Deng to Shanghai just to teach Han Guoping a lesson. I didn't expect that I would meet you. You are more powerful than Yang Deng. He was defeated, but you didn't kill him. But I was very angry. In the end, Jiang Xianbang came to me with 2 old objects and begged me to spare your life. I'm very curious. What's your relationship with Jiang Xianbang?" Qin Shing didn't expect Third Master Wu to have such a good memory. When people got old, they would easily get amnesia. He could still remember these old things. Qin Shing explained thoughtfully, "Uncle Jiang and my grandfather are related." But he didn't say too much about his grandfather. Third Master Wu said thoughtfully, "No wonder he treated you like this. I heard that you have been following him since then. If he hadn't been in trouble, you should be living a good life in Shanghai now. What a pity." Qin Shing didn't say much. After he came back, he called Uncle Jiang and told him about his things in Hangzhou. Uncle Jiang didn't have any opinion. He was very happy that Qin Shing was lucky to be alive. He told Qin Shing to be careful in Hangzhou and gave him some advice. Qin Shing couldn't help much now. After all, most of the time people left and the tea cooled. Now Jiang Xianbang was living a good life in Hong Kong. When he was free, he would go to Southeast Asia to have fun. After the storm passed, he would think of a way to come back. But it should be 2 or 3 years. At first, Qin Shing was a little worried about Qing Er. After all, when he was not in Shanghai, he didn't know how Qing Er was. Jiang Xianbang said that Qing Er was fine, so Qin Shing was relieved. Third Master Wu continued to ask, "I heard from Yang Deng that you are following Chao De now?" Qin Shing nodded truthfully and said, "Yes. After I came to Hangzhou, I followed Uncle Chao to do things." Third Master Wu sighed and said, "Xiao Luo said that you have a good relationship with old Lu. No wonder you could ask for this painting. The painting of an old steed in the stable. It's a pity that I don't have the ambition to go 1,000 miles anymore." The eyes of the old man in this painting were still full of brilliance. But he was gone. He was old and the era was different. Qin Shing still didn't interrupt. At this time, he must be careful with his words and actions. Third Master Wu felt that this painting was really written by you. Qin Shing was always silent. Third Master Wu felt that it was boring. So he put his attention back on this painting, which he liked a lot. But he still didn't believe it. Qin Shing found it funny and said, Master Lu said that my calligraphy can reach a higher level. Qin Shing's answer was very clever. Since old Master Lu's appreciation ability had been so sure about Qin Shing, of course, Third Master Wu would not doubt him anymore. I'll accept this piece of calligraphy. I can promise you one thing. As long as it's within my ability, you can come to me at any time. How could a person like Third Master Wu not know what Qin Shing wanted to do? However, he did not agree with Yang Deng to let Qin Shing enter this circle. That was because this circle was already very complicated. If Qin Shing entered it, it would only cause more disputes. He was old and did not want to see any more disturbances. Qin Shing was already very surprised by Third Master Wu's words. He didn't think too much about it. This was completely an unexpected gain. Consequently, he said in a hurry, Thank you, old master. Third Master Wu nodded and said, If you are capable of writing the second half, I will promise you one more thing. You can come and fulfill it at any time. This gave Qin Shing an inexplicable motivation. If there was really a chance, he would definitely write it. However, he didn't directly nod and agree. It was enough for them to understand each other. After talking about these things, Third Master Wu continued to appreciate the painting. It was really good. He found the feeling of Huai Su and Zhang Su. However, he didn't have the ability to write it. Chapter 284. Looking for monthly votes and collections. I hope you can support me. I like to see you discuss the plot or characters in the book review, which is very helpful for me to think about the plot later. Please post more. Yang Deng wanted Qin Shing to enter this circle. However, Third Master Wu had some reservations about this. Qin Shing was not an ordinary person, which could be seen from the things he had done in Shanghai. Moreover, he had gained a firm foothold in Hangzhou in a short period of time. Such a man wanted to enter this circle to have a certain status. However, the positions in this circle had been fixed. If Qin Shing wanted to get a position, someone would have to give up their position. It was not easy. Therefore, Third Master Wu did not take the initiative to invite Qin Shing, even though he did not know that Qin Shing would not agree. This matter was left unsettled. However, because of the painting and the calligraphy, plus Yang Deng and Luo Changgong's good words, Third Master Wu agreed to do one thing for Qin Shing within his ability. Third Master Wu agreed to do one thing, which was a great favor. Qin Shing would not use it unless he had no other choice. After Qin Shing came out of the study, Yang Deng ran to him immediately and said, How was it? How was your talk with the old master? Not bad. I can see that the old master likes that painting very much. If I have a chance to write the second half, the old master is willing to buy it with a lot of money, Qin Shing replied with a smile. Yang Deng asked curiously, Anything else? Anything else? We just talked about the trivial things in Shanghai that you and I both know. Nothing else, Qin Shing said with a smile. Yang Deng was surprised and said, Nothing else? The old master didn't ask you whether you want to enter this circle or not. Originally, Qin Shing did not know about this. Hearing Yang Deng's words, Qin Shing was suddenly awakened. He frowned slightly and was lost in thought. Obviously, Yang Deng had recommended him to the old master, but the old master did not say anything. What did this mean? After Qin Shing came to himself, he shook his head and said, No, but the old master promised me one thing. As long as it is within his ability, I can mention it at any time. Yang Deng sighed helplessly. It seemed that this way was blocked. I am going back to Hangzhou. What about you? Qin Sheng was a little disappointed and confused, but he knew the reason, so he could only change the topic. Yang Deng raised his head and said in a low voice, "Wait for me in the car. I'll go back to Hangzhou after I say hello to the old master." Yang Deng was a man who valued friendship and kept his promise. Qin Sheng followed him to Mount Putua. Of course, he would not let anything happen to Qin Sheng in Ningbo. Even if the Lin family really wanted to stop him, he would stop them. Qin Sheng went out after saying goodbye to the people in the yard. When he went out, he happened to meet Luo Changgong, who had just come back. They chatted for a while. Of course, Luo Changgong made some sarcastic remarks about Qin Sheng. On the other side, after Lin Zhe suffered a loss in the banquet hall of the Radisson Manor, he left with Uncle Fu in a rage. After he went out, he called Lin Changhe and told him that Qin Sheng refused to see him directly. He wanted Uncle Fu to take Qin Sheng away by force. However, when the two of them fought, they were stopped by the people on Third Master Wu's side. They stood on Qin Sheng's side. Of course, Lin Changhe knew what his brother Lin Chongting meant. They had been brothers for so many years, so they definitely had this tacit understanding. Hearing Lin Zhe's words, Lin Changhe was a little annoyed. His nephew was really useless, but he could not scold him. He had said that he would invite Qin Sheng here, not by force. However, this idiot still fought with him at Third Master Wu's birthday party. Wasn't he courting death? Lin Changhe could only sigh. It seemed that Qin Sheng was afraid of something. After all, he had almost been killed by Yan Chaozong, so he was somewhat resentful and suspicious of the Lin family. "Second uncle, what should we do? Should we find him? As long as he leaves Mount Putua, it will be fine." Lin Zhe did not give up. Lin Changhe was so angry that he was speechless. He wanted to ask Lin Zhe to use his brain. Third Master Wu had already known about this. If Lin Zhe hurt Qin Sheng, of course, Third Master Wu would be angry. After all, Qin Sheng came to Third Master Wu's birthday party. Lin Changhe restrained his anger and said in a low voice, "Forget it. You don't have to worry about this. I will figure out a way. You can come back first." "Second uncle, just forget it?" Lin Zhe said in surprise. This was not the style of the Lin family. There was nothing to worry about when dealing with Qin Sheng. Lin Changhe did not want to talk nonsense with him. He directly said that he had something to do and hung up the phone. He really did not know to what extent the Lin family would be defeated if it was handed over to Lin Zhe in the future. If Lin Zhe was 30% as capable as his nephew, Lin Songhao, he would be relieved. After hanging up the phone, Lin Zhe still did not know what was going on. He thought about it for a while, but he could not figure it out. Then he simply gave up thinking. He looked at Uncle Fu and vented his anger. "Uncle Fu, what happened to you today? You could not even defeat him?" Uncle Fu said helplessly, "Young master, he is very powerful. He is totally different from when he came to our Lin family." "Is he that powerful?" Lin Zhe muttered. Of course, he believed Uncle Fu's words. It seemed that if he met Qin Sheng in the future, he should bring more people with him. He did not want to be beaten again. After Qin Sheng waited in the car for more than 10 minutes, Yang Deng came back and told him that they could set off. Then they went to Hangzhou. Chu Huanxi, Yuan Ku, and the brother and sister of the Dugu family returned to Hangzhou half an hour earlier than them. Different people thought about different things. After Chu Huanxi got in the car, he called Yan Chaozong. Yan Chaozong had already left Hangzhou and returned to Shanghai. "Your old rival in love is in the limelight again today. He is really high profile," Chu Huanxi said sarcastically. Yan Chaozong said disdainfully, "The more ordinary a person is, the more he wants to be in the limelight. Those who are really powerful will choose to be low-key, because they are confident enough. But for me, Hangzhou does not allow such a high-profile person to appear. I really want to know how he will look when he cries, Chu Huanqi said complacently. Yan Chaozong said happily, then let him taste the appetizers tonight. I will wait for your good news. Ha 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 ha. Chu Huanqi laughed unscrupulously. It was already 8 o'clock in the evening when Qin Sheng and Yang Deng returned to Hangzhou. It was already dark. After all, it was already the end of September, and the sky along the coast was already dark. It was a smooth journey. Nothing happened as they had expected. The Lin family did not stop Qin Sheng at all. After getting off the highway, Qin Sheng and Yang Deng separated. Qin Sheng went to the airport with Gu Qingyang to pick up Lin Su. Lin Su would get off the plane in half an hour. Qin Sheng finally came back. Gu Qingyang was waiting in the parking lot. Qin Sheng waited for Lin Su at the airport alone. After a while, he saw Lin Su walking out with her colleagues, talking and laughing. Lin Su had already seen Qin Sheng. She looked at Qin Sheng with a smile on her face. The other colleagues also noticed it and deliberately made fun of Lin Su. After all, Lin Su was such a good boyfriend. Every time he came back from a business trip, he would pick him up on time. Women always wanted to find a man who treated them well, right? Today, Lin Su was dressed very innocently. She wore a pair of white shoes, a pair of white jeans, and a white t-shirt. Her hair was tied into a ponytail casually. She looked like a university student who had yet to graduate. To put it bluntly, she was beautiful. When Lin Su, who was pulling her suitcase, approached, Qin Sheng, as usual, stretched out his arms slightly in front of the eyes of many male compatriots at the arrival gate. Lin Su knew what was going on and hugged him shyly. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, not to mention that they were in love. After greeting Lin Su's colleagues, Qin Sheng took Lin Su to the departure floor. Meanwhile, he called Gu Qingyang and asked him to drive the car over. Why do I feel that your skin has become better after this trip? My wife is getting more and more beautiful. Qin Sheng coaxed Lin Su as usual. All women liked a man's praise, but it depended on who the man was. Lin Su touched her face and said, "Really? Maybe the air and environment there are better. Compared with the city, it is more suitable for living and raising people." Qin Sheng said happily, "When we are old, we can go back to Zhongnan Mountains to retire. The air there is also good. I don't mind. I'm just afraid that you are not willing to give up this colorful world." Lin Su joked. Qin Sheng said, "As long as you are around, everywhere is colorful. Without you, it will be hell." Again, Lin Su said with a smile. On the way back to the city, Lin Su nestled in Qin Sheng's arms. Gu Qingyang drove quietly. This was the first time for him to see Qin Sheng's girlfriend. He had heard a lot about her from his senior uncle and others. They all said that she was a stunning beauty. Today, he finally saw her. To be honest, at that moment, Gu Qingyang was a little touched. Such a woman was what every man wanted. Therefore, Gu Qingyang, who had just left the mountain, was thinking about what his other half would look like and when he could meet her. "I met Lin Zhe on Putuo Mountain today," Qin Sheng reported to Lin Su. Lin Su was a little nervous and said, "Did you have a conflict?" She knew her brother's temper. When he was in Ningbo and Shanghai, he often made trouble. After seeing Qin Sheng, of course, he could not control his temper. Qin Sheng did not say that they had a conflict. He shook his head and said, "No. Your second uncle wanted to see me, but I refused. After all, it was in Ningbo. I didn't know their plan, so I did not take the risk." Lin Su sighed and said, "Are they still not willing to let us go?" Qin Sheng frowned and said, "I don't know. But I am sure that they will definitely come to me. When I see them, I will know what they want." Lin Su chuckled and said, "It's okay. We can leave Hangzhou. In fact, I like Xi'an very much. Going back to Xi'an is also a good choice." Qin Sheng shook his head and said, "I'm almost 30. I can't stand this. I want a comfortable life and I want you to give me a son and a daughter." So this time, as long as there is a chance, I will try my best to solve this problem. Be careful, Lin Su said softly. Qin Xing nodded silently and hugged Lin Su more tightly. When Qin Xing and Lin Su returned to the city, they found a restaurant not far from the community. At this time, the first big gift from Yan Chaozong and Chu Huanqi arrived. Chapter 285. Who was behind this? It was rare for Qin Xing to see Chang Baji lose his composure like this. He had always been patient and patient. When Qin Xing found out what was going on, he was also stunned subconsciously. Because Poly International was closed down by the police. Before Chang Baji finished his words, the call was cut off. It could be seen that he was in a bad situation at this time. Qin Xing was listening to Lin Su talking about what she had seen during this business trip. They were talking and laughing while eating. After the call, Qin Xing suddenly froze there with a gloomy and complicated expression on his face. Gu Qingyang, who was sitting next to him and eating quietly, was also confused. What on earth happened to make Qin Xing react so strongly? Lin Su frowned and asked, "What happened?" Qin Xing did not answer her. He was thinking about what went wrong. Who was so powerful that they asked the police to close down Poly International tonight. This was not a small thing. It might be on the news tomorrow. Moreover, he had been dealing with the political and legal system recently. He had met the leaders of the Sub-Bureau and the Municipal Bureau more or less. Moreover, he had connections with Chowda. How could something go wrong without any warning? How could no one inform him in advance? Who was the mastermind? Chowda's opponent or his old enemy? After coming to his senses, Qin Xing knew that he had to inform Uncle Chow as soon as possible. This matter was out of his control. Chowda had to use his resources. Qin Xing said to Lin Su, "Wife, I'll ask Qingyang to send you back first. You should rest early tonight. I may come back a little late. I have something to deal with." Lin Su would never be a burden to Qin Xing. She gritted her teeth and said, "Okay. Be careful. Qingyang, call me when you are done. We will meet again," Qin Xing told Gu Qingyang. Gu Qingyang hesitated and said, "Brother Qin, are you sure you can go alone?" "I'm afraid, don't worry. I know what I'm doing." Qin Xing patted Gu Qingyang's shoulder and said. After paying the bill and walking out of the restaurant, Qin Xing hurriedly stopped a taxi and left. After getting in the taxi, he called Chang Baji first. Chang Baji's phone was turned off and there was no message. Qin Xing called Song Wei next. After the phone was connected, he could not wait to ask, "Brother Song, is Yun Ding all right?" Song Wei said confusedly, "What's wrong?" "Yun Ding is fine." "What do you mean?" Qin Xing said bluntly, "That's good. Poly International is under investigation. You should pay more attention here. If you really can't handle it, just close down," Qin Xing said straightforwardly. Thinking carefully, Yunding International was the busiest place in Hangzhou's night scene. Beside it were bars like Queen and G+. Opposite it was the eastern charm of the old monk. There should not be such a big movement. Song Wei was shocked when he heard the news. He exclaimed, "What? Poly International was investigated?" Qin Xing did not have much time to say. He said in a deep voice, "I can't tell you more about what happened just now. I'm on my way there now." He still had to contact the others quickly. Song Wei, who had not come back to his senses, frowned and said, "Okay. Be careful. Call me anytime." After hanging up the phone, Qin Xing felt more or less at ease. If something happened to Yun Ding, it would be troublesome. He did not dare to think too much and immediately dialed Chow Da's number. After the phone was connected, Qin Xing said in a hurry, "Uncle Chow, something happened to Poly International." Chow Da said in a low voice, "I already know. I'm waiting for your call." Qin Xing was surprised. He did not expect that Chow Da would know it earlier than him. This was not good news for him. Did Chowda know it in advance or after the accident? He was in charge of Poly International. Any leader would be dissatisfied if something went wrong in the area he was in charge of. Qin Shing did not say anything. Chowda realized that Qin Shing had thought too much, so he added unhurriedly, "Before you called, someone had already called me. I'm inquiring about the news. You go to Poly International to control the situation first. I'll inform you if there's any news." Qin Shing did not talk nonsense. He nodded and said, "Okay." Qin Shing went straight to Poly International. Since Poly International opened, this was the first time that something like this had happened. Everything had been smooth during Qian Buping's time. Qin Shing did not sit still. On the way to Poly International, he first called the branch leader in charge of Poly International. As expected, the leader had just got the news and was having a headache at the moment. Why? It was a fight between immortals. Innocent people like them would be hurt. No matter what the final result was, this kind of thing happened in his jurisdiction. If someone had to take the blame, it would be him in the end. After chatting with Qin Shing for a while, he hung up the phone. He was also inquiring about who did it. Then Qin Shing called a leader in the municipal bureau. Qin Shing knew this leader because of Fang Jianping. He was not surprised to receive Qin Shing's call. He just sighed and said, "Little Qin, you must have offended some big shots. The police were sent by our municipal bureau, but the leader who led the team was the leader of the provincial department. I didn't get the news at all. I just got it." "Brother Wu, thank you. Sorry to trouble you," Qin Shing said politely. Brother Wu shook his head and said, "I can't help you this time. You have to figure out what's going on. But I'm sure they're all right. If you want to see them, I can still help." "Okay, I'll buy you a drink later." Qin Shing nodded and said. After another traffic light, they would arrive at Poly International. At least, Qin Shing figured out what the problem was. It was not the sub-bureau or the municipal bureau, but the provincial bureau. This made Qin Shing's balls hurt. His connections were far from that level. The only person Qin Shing knew who had connections in the political and legal system was Fang Jianping. Qin Shing really didn't want to trouble this god, but at this time, he had to do it. "Brother Fang, you haven't slept yet, right?" Qin Shing asked politely. Fang Jianping, who just came back from overtime and was about to take a shower, shook his head and said, "I just got home." "Not yet. What's the matter?" Qin Shing didn't have time to talk nonsense. He said directly, "Brother Fang, I really don't want to trouble you, but I can't do anything about it. Poly International was closed down by the provincial department. I just want you to help me find out what's going on." At this moment, Qin Shing was really humble. This was not the way he liked to be. But facing reality and power, he could only do this. Because if he couldn't handle it, Chowda would be disappointed with him. He might lose this hard-won job and have to start all over again. So Qin Shing could only be thick-skinned. Fang Jianping was a little surprised. He didn't expect it to be like this. He didn't get any news at all. He couldn't help muttering in his heart. He whispered, "When did it happen?" "Just now," Qin Shing replied quickly. Fang Jianping was still so capable. He said directly, "Wait for my call." "Sorry to trouble you, Brother Fang." Qin Shing smiled bitterly. Before he finished his words, Fang Jianping had already hung up the phone. Qin Shing sighed helplessly. When Qin Shing arrived at Poly International, the police had already left. They took away tonight's guests and hostesses, as well as many staff and people in charge, including Chang Baji and Gu Xiaobo. The gate of Poly International had been sealed. There were many onlookers around. Qin Shing quickly walked into Poly International from the staff passage at the back. At this moment, there were only some people from the security department left in Poly International. The person in charge was a young man promoted by Chang Baji. His name was Tang Shi. He used to be a gangster. Later, he turned over a new leaf. Qin Shing had met him several times. Seeing Qin Shing coming in, everyone suddenly had a backbone. They hurried forward and said, "Boss Qin, you finally came." Tang Shi followed him, but he didn't say anything, because he knew Qin Shing would definitely ask what he wanted to know. Qin Shing frowned and asked, "What's the situation now?" Tang Shi said concisely, "Mr. Chang was taken away. Vice President Zhang and Brother Gu, who are in charge of finance, were also taken away. The account books and computers were sealed. I have asked others to go back and wait for the news. Only the people from the security department stayed here. I don't have your number. Mr. Chang asked me to wait for you." Tang Shi did the right thing. Qin Shing looked at him with appreciation. Then he said, "You did the right thing. I'll handle the rest." Qin Shing took over the scene and began to arrange the following work. Everything was going on in an orderly way. No matter when it was, they could not mess up. At least, someone had to be responsible for the mess. Before Qin Shing came, Tang Shi had already called Luo Changgong's leader. So it didn't take long for Luo Changgong to call Qin Shing. Qin Shing answered the phone and said, "Brother Luo, you know it? How could I not know such a big thing? Damn it. I really don't know who is so bold. Doesn't he know that Poly International is under my protection now?" Since Luo Changgong had cooperated with Qin Shing, he would not flinch when Poly International was in trouble. He stood on the same front with Qin Shing without hesitation. Qin Shing smiled bitterly and said, "The Municipal Bureau and the branch office didn't get any information about the action of the provincial department." Luo Changgong shook his head and said, "Whether it's the Municipal Bureau or the provincial department, there must be a reason for them to act without any warning. Who is so free to do such a big thing? This is a job that offends people. Don't worry, it's not a big deal." "I know. Uncle Chow is also looking for people." Qin Shing nodded silently. Luo Changgong was very loyal. He said in a deep voice, "Yang Deng has gone to look for you. I also sent someone to help. Deal with the mess first. You will definitely be too busy." "Thank you, Brother Luo," Qin Shing said gratefully. At this time, he could see who really regarded him as a friend. Yang Deng and Luo Changgong surprised him. Luo Changgong scolded him with a smile and shook his head. "Don't talk so much nonsense. It's nothing." After the phone call with Luo Changgong, Qin Shing felt much more relaxed. The person sent by Luo Changgong must be an expert in this aspect. At least, he should figure out a way to get people out, whether it was to pay or something else. Chowda must be using his connections to get information. They were also taking action here. At least, the aftermath of this thing would not spread out. Chapter 286. What do you mean? Why did Qin Shing say so? Because if Chowda was targeted, Qin Shing would be implicated if something happened to Poly International. After all, Chowda's position was relatively high, and no one knew who shot him in the back. However, it was definitely not easy to use the power of the provincial government. If Qin Shing was targeted, of course, he would not be convinced. He was just a small person with a small nose and eyes. Even if they wanted to deal with me, they did not have to be so ruthless. Of course, he would not be convinced. No matter who was targeted and whether he was convinced or not, it was not important now. The important thing was to get things done quickly. After Qin Shing arranged things in Poly International, he only asked some people from the security department to stay and let the others go back. Tang Shi stayed with him. After a while, the trusted subordinates of Yang Deng and Brother Luo arrived. They left Poly International and stood by the roadside outside, smoking cigarette. Yang Deng asked, "Who is so capable to take drastic measures to deal with you?" "If I knew, I would not be smoking here," Qin Shing said with a bitter smile. The atmosphere was a little depressed. Yang Deng joked, "Are you going to bring people to kill your whole family? Don't do that. It is not a big deal. Maybe you have offended some big shot. You just need to use your connections to make it over. I hope so, Qin Shing said, squinting. After smoking a cigarette, they went to the municipal bureau. It was estimated that they could not sleep tonight. Such a big thing had stirred up many people's nerve. Just like a stone thrown into a lake, the whole lake would be affected. No one knew the truth behind the scenes, so they were all inquiring about the news. At dawn, thanks to everyone's efforts, most of the people in Poly International had been released, except for Chang Baji and a few other managers. In the words of that leader, they had to give an explanation to their superiors no matter what. It didn't matter to the subordinates, but if the leader in charge didn't say anything, they could do nothing. Qin Shing asked Tang Shi and Gu Qingyang to take care of these things. He took Yang Deng and Brother Luo's trusted subordinate, Brother Kai, to have breakfast. He was really hungry. He had had lunch yesterday at noon and had not eaten anything yet. He only ate 2 mouthfuls of dinner with Lin Su last night, which did not fill his stomach at all. After breakfast, Qin Shing said to Yang Deng and Brother Kai, "Thank you for your hard work. Go back and sleep for a while. If anything happens, I'll call you. You too. It's not a big deal. It's not murder or arson. At most, I'll give up this business," Yang Deng said with relief. Qin Shing nodded at Yang Deng and Brother Kai. After sending them to the car, he took a taxi to Jiushi Rose Garden. He was going to report to Chao De what had happened tonight. Presumably, Chao De also had something to arrange. Chao De went to bed rather late last night. After he figured out the situation, he was no longer conflicted. After all, he had been through a lot for so many years. This was really not a big deal. Qin Shing would handle the rest of the trivial matters. Moreover, his state of mind had long been calm. When Qin Shing arrived at Jiushi Rose Garden, Chao De had not gotten up yet. After all, he was old and did not have as much energy as young people. The nanny asked Qin Shing to wait in the living room. About half an hour later, Qin Shing finally saw the hostess of this villa. Second Aunt Mi Na came downstairs and saw Qin Shing sitting in the living room. She was surprised and said, "Qin Shing, why are you here so early?" Qin Shing stood up and said politely, "Second Aunt, good morning. I want to talk to Uncle Chao about something." He looked a little tired. After all, he had been busy all night and did not rest. Maybe because she got up too early, her head was still dizzy. Mina did not think much about it. She smiled and said, "Lao Chao is taking a bath and will come down soon. Then you sit down and wait for a while. I'll go out to buy something." Qin Shing nodded and said, "Okay, Second Aunt. Then you go ahead." Not long after Qin Shing waited, Chao De, who was wearing a long sleeve, came downstairs. Qin Shing quickly stood up. Chao De waved his hand and said, "Let's talk outside." After that, he asked the nanny to make a pot of tea. In the garden outside, Chao De said faintly, "Don't blame yourself too much. It has nothing to do with you. This is not something you can control. I've already inquired about it. It was done by a deputy director of the provincial office who is about to retire. As for who is behind it, I still don't know. Tonight, I have an appointment with several leaders from the provincial office and the provincial office. At that time, you will accompany them and try to solve this problem. You've already arranged everything else, right?" After all, Chao De was Chao De. Even a skinny camel was bigger than a horse. He had been in Hangzhou for so many years. How could he not have connections? He had already found out where the source was with just a few phone calls. It seemed that this leader who was about to retire had become someone's gun. But he was puzzled. Who would make such a big move? If they wanted to mess with him, did they have other ways? All the staff have been arranged to take a vacation. Poly International will be closed indefinitely for rectification. Except for a few managers, the others have been released last night. Next, it will depend on the punishment decision of the municipal office, Qin Shing said truthfully. Chao De squinted and said, "Thanks for your hard work. Recently, it may not be peaceful. If the other party is really aiming at me, this will not be the end, but just the beginning. During this period you should pay more attention. I will inform Lao Zhou. Okay, I will pay attention, Qin Shing said with his eyes burning. Chowda sighed and said, All right. You have been tossing and turning for a night. Go back and have a rest. If there is nothing else, come back early in the evening. Could it be Yuan Ku's side? Qin Shing could not help but ask. After all, he felt that only Yuan Ku had the power and motive to do this. Chowda said casually, Don't guess blindly. It will come to the surface eventually. Go back first. Okay, Uncle Chow, then I will leave first. Qin Shing stood up and left. Dragging his exhausted body, Qin Shing finally returned to the Golden Coast. Yesterday, he had been in the car for half a day. He had just met his wife and had a few words with her, but he had been tossed and turned for the whole night. Qin Shing was really bitter, but what could he do? Wasn't this life? There were many people who were worse than him. No one would go back to listen to him complain. He had to go through all the setbacks and tribulations. Qin Shing opened the door and went in. Lin Su was making breakfast in the kitchen. Hearing the noise, she hurried out. Seeing Qin Shing's exhaustion, she was very distressed. She did not ask what Qin Shing had been busy with. Instead, she gritted her teeth and said, Go take a shower first. Then come out and have some breakfast before resting. I have already eaten. It's okay. I will be fine after lying down for a while. Qin Shing held Lin Su's shoulder and laughed. He did not want Lin Su to worry too much about him. Lin Su had something to tell Qin Shing, but she held back in the end and let Qin Shing sleep for a while. Qin Shing did not sleep for long. After sleeping for only 3 hours, he was woken up by a few phone calls. Of course, he did not dare to turn off his phone. After all, he still had to solve anything. Although he only slept for 3 hours, Qin Shing still recovered his spirit. After taking a shower and changing his clothes, he returned to the living room after answering the phone calls in the study. At this time, Lin Su was already making lunch. Wife, let me do it. You go and have a rest. Lin Su had been away on a business trip for so long. It was not easy for her to have 2 days off. How could he let her be so busy? Lin Su, who was wearing loose home clothes, shook her head and said, No need. It will be ready soon. Go out and wait. You really don't need me? Qin Shing hugged Lin Su from behind and deliberately rubbed her ear. Lin Su felt a little uncomfortable. She quickly pushed Qin Shing out, in case this guy stayed here and continued to make trouble. She knew that something big must have happened last night. Otherwise, it was impossible for Qin Shing not to go home on the first night after she came back from a business trip. This had never happened before. In addition, Qin Shing came back in a tired state in the morning. How could a smart person like her not know? After Qin Shing replied a few WeChat messages in the living room, Lin Su's lunch was ready. There were 4 dishes and a soup, simple home-cooked dishes. Wife, I'm sorry that I couldn't come back to accompany you last night, Qin Shing said with guilt. Lin Su chuckled and said, In your words, we are an old couple. Do you need to be so polite? You must have something urgent. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been busy the whole night. I'm so lucky to have a wife like you. Qin Shing quickly took the opportunity to flatter her. Lin Su lowered her head and ate 2 mouthfuls of food. After hesitating for a long time, she looked up and said, After thinking about it, I think I should tell you, although I know you are a little tired. You are being polite to me again. We don't need to be like this. No matter what I do outside, nothing is more important than you, Qin Shing said in a very male chauvinistic way. Lin Su smiled and said, Well, I know. Actually, it's nothing. After I came home last night, I received a call from my uncle. Well, Qin Shing said in surprise. After such a long time, the Lin family finally decided to contact Lin Su. Should they continue to be aggressive, or, Uncle said he wanted to talk to you and apologize for what happened to Lin Zhe yesterday. He arrived in Hangzhou today. If you want, you can meet him at any time. You can choose the place. Lin Su repeated what her uncle said to Qin Sheng without changing a word. As for other things, her uncle asked her how she had been in the past 6 months, how Qin Sheng treated him, and how her grandma missed her very much and was in poor health recently. In the end, he asked her to understand her father. As the head of the Lin family, he had no choice but to do some things. Lin Su didn't care about other things. The only person she cared about in the whole Lin family was her grandma. When Lin Yu called her 2 days ago, she felt upset. Last night, after her uncle told her, she didn't sleep well. Qin Sheng was lost in thought. Lin Changhe was very humble, which was different from his usual attitude. Qin Sheng had a good impression of this uncle of Lin Su, who was not as tough as Lin Chongting. Uncle also asked me to tell you something. He said that Yan Chaozong has been in Hangzhou recently. He told the Lin family about us, Lin Su said with a frown. The reason why she said this was that she was worried that what happened to Qin Sheng last night might have something to do with Yan Chaozong. She knew that Yan Chaozong was not a person who could let go of things easily. Lin Su was right. If she knew what happened, she might not think that it was Yan Chaozong who did it. But this was the truth. The more you didn't believe it, the more it was true. Qin Sheng's expression changed slightly, but he still thought about it. He sighed and said, "What do you think?" Chapter 287. Let's not talk about it. Qin Sheng thought that Lin Su wanted to talk about something, like work or business trip. However, he did not expect Lin Su to talk about this matter, and there was a lot of information in her words. Lin Changhe's attitude was thought-provoking. Was it only Lin Changhe's attitude, or did it represent the Lin family's attitude? Secondly, what was the purpose of the Lin family this time? Instead of attacking him directly, he took the initiative to ask to see Qin Sheng for a detailed chat. And why did Lin Changhe tell him all this? For example, the news that they were in Hangzhou was leaked by Yan Chaozong, and Yan Chaozong had been in Hangzhou for some time. To Qin Sheng, this piece of news was extraordinarily important. He had thought that only the Lin family would know about it. Yan Chaozong might not necessarily know about it. However, he did not expect it to be the opposite. Based on his understanding of Yan Chaozong was not the kind of person who would admit defeat. Moreover, he had an absolute advantage. Last time, he was lucky to escape. If Uncle Zhuang had not appeared at the last moment, he would have met the King of Hell long ago. Therefore, putting the two things together, Yan Chaozong, who knew that Qin Sheng was in Hangzhou, had stayed in Hangzhou for such a long time. Obviously, he was not here for a vacation. Qin Sheng had to figure out what was going on. Perhaps what happened last night was really Yan Chaozong's doing. With his ability, he really had the ability to cause trouble. However, Qin Sheng still had to respect Lin Su's wishes more or less. At least, he had to know what Lin Su was thinking in her heart. That was why he asked this question. Hearing Qin Sheng's words, Lin Su shook her head and said, "Except for Grandma, there's no one or anything in the Lin family that I'm reluctant to part with." Qin Sheng knew that Lin Su had been missing her grandma. He was not a selfish person and did not want Lin Su to give up everything for him. Consequently, Qin Sheng said seriously, "Then I'll go to see your uncle and see what they think." When? The joy in Lin Su's eyes could not be hidden. If they could ease their relationship, of course, she would be willing. Even though she said that there was nothing to miss in the Lin family now that Grandma was out of the picture, blood was thicker than water. These were all her family members that she had been with for more than 20 years. Qin Sheng said resolutely, "Right now. You call Uncle. I'll wait for him at the cafe downstairs." "Okay, I'll ask first." Lin Su quickly got up and went to her room to make a call. Qin Sheng was still thinking about what had happened last night and what Yan Chaozong had said. He wondered if they had anything to do with each other. It seemed that he had to find someone to investigate who Yen Chaozong had contacted during his stay in Hangzhou. It was just that they might not be able to find out. Not long after, Lin Su finished her call and came back. She told Uncle Qin that she had arrived in Hangzhou in the morning. She was handling some matters in the company in Hangzhou and would rush over immediately. Since they still had to wait for a while, Qin Shing and Lin Su took their time to eat. After that, Qin Shing cleaned up the bowls and chopsticks, changed into comfortable clothes, and went out with Lin Su to wait for Lin Changhe in the cafe downstairs. This would be the third time for Qin Shing to meet Lin Changhe. The two of them ordered a cup of coffee. After waiting for about 10 minutes, Lin Changhe finally showed up in the cafe. Lin Changhe was alone, perhaps to show his utmost sincerity, and also to make Qin Shing trust him. Lin Su and Qin Shing stood up to welcome them. Lin Su was somewhat excited. After all, she had not seen her relatives for more than half a year. Her uncle treated her pretty well, and was not as mean as others. However, he concealed it very well on the surface. He looked calm and at ease. He smiled calmly and said, "Uncle?" Lin Changhe sighed with emotion as he said, "Girl, it's been almost 10 months. I finally see you again. You look thinner and a little tired. Why are you like this?" Lin Changhe sighed with emotion. "Uncle, let's not talk about this." Lin Su did not want Qin Shing to have any ideas, so she did not act very close to him. When Lin Changhe looked at Qin Shing said in a neither servile nor overbearing manner, "Second Uncle Lin." Lin Changhe nodded to Qin Shing with a smile and said, "Well, sit down. Let's sit down and talk." After the three of them sat down, Lin Changhe sat opposite to Lin Su and kept a distance from Qin Shing. He had already figured out a countermeasure, so he could not stand on the opposite side of Qin Shing. He had to treat Qin Shing and Lin Su as a whole, so that they could continue the conversation. Otherwise, Qin Shing would definitely feel very uncomfortable, and his words would be emotional. After all, he was an experienced man in the business field. He had experienced all kinds of situations, so he still had this wisdom. "It's been such a long time. How are you doing outside?" Lin Changhe asked casually. He could not ask the question directly, so he had to set the mood first. Lin Su looked at Qin Shing and replied, "Nothing serious happened. I have been living a peaceful life. I don't need to worry about many things, and I don't need to face people I don't want to face." "Girl, the people you don't want to face are the Lin family, right? In fact, although your father did not say it, he missed you very much. But he was in that position, so he had to be dignified as the head of the family, so he could not express his opinion casually. Later, we tried all kinds of ways to find you, but we could not find you. I'm curious, how did you disappear from the world?" Lin Changhe was very curious. According to Yen Chaozong's information, Qin Shing and Lin Su had lived in Xiamen for more than half a year. But in today's society, unless one was hiding in the deep mountains or forests, living in the city required identity. How could they not have any information? Identity cards and bank cards would be exposed. Qin Shing knew what Lin Changhe wanted to say, so he said, "As long as we change our identity, no one in this big city will notice our existence." Lin Changhe had already thought of this possibility. Then he thought that Qin Shing could quickly open up the situation in Hangzhou and have a certain status in such a short time. How could it be possible without the help of noble people? Lin Su definitely could not use the resources of the Lin family, otherwise they would be exposed directly. Then how could Qin Shing, who did not have any foundation in Hangzhou, have a relationship with so many big shots? Obviously, Qin Shing was not as simple as they thought. This was what Lin Changhe could almost confirm. There were too many suspicious points about this young man, including those things when he was in Shanghai. After all, he was from Xi'an. He could only rely on his adoptive parents. But his adoptive parents' family had declined a few years ago, so they could not help him much at all. Then, in Shanghai, he knew Han Guoping. Han Guoping could entrust his daughter to him and help him deal with the funeral affairs of Guoping Group. It could be seen how much Han Guoping trusted him. And he knew Jiang Xianbang, who helped him a lot and arranged for him to enter Shangshan Ruoshui to practice. After the accident, he disappeared inexplicably and disappeared in the vast sea of people. No one could find him no matter how hard they tried. He appeared in Hangzhou without any signs and rose up like a rocket. Was it really that simple? Lin Changhe stopped thinking about these things and said in a low voice, "In fact, what happened at that time did not have to be so serious. The Lin family is not a stubborn family. Anything is possible." Lin Changhe's words suddenly made Qin Xing very angry. But because Lin Changhe was Lin Su's elder, and Lin Su was sitting next to him, he had to care about this kind of relationship. So Qin Xing restrained his anger and said, "I don't know what second uncle means. Is it possible? If I had died that night, everything would have been over. What else could have happened? It would have been a happy ending for both of you." The Lin family did not participate in what happened that night. So Lin Changhe certainly did not know what Qin Xing was talking about. He asked confusedly, "Qin Xing, what do you mean? I don't understand." "Second uncle, you really don't understand? That night, didn't the Yen family and the Lin family cooperate? Did you want to kill me to end all your troubles?" Qin Xing lowered his voice again and stared at Lin Changhe. Lin Su did not look good. That incident was the biggest scar in her heart. She could not forget the scene when she saw Qin Xing in the hospital. Qin Xing's entire body was wrapped in bandages and he was lying unconscious on the hospital bed. He was in critical condition and could die at any time. Those days were the most difficult torment in her life. Who could understand Qin Xing's bitterness in that half a year? Only she knew clearly. This was the biggest reason why she hated the Lin family so much. Because they wanted to kill Qin Xing. Lin Changhe said with a shocked face, "To kill you, the Yen family and the Lin family cooperate? How come I didn't know that?" "Second Uncle Lin, you really didn't know? Or are you acting?" Qin Xing sneered with a disdainful smile. Lin Changhe said firmly, "The Lin family has a history of more than 100 years. We don't dare to say that we are honest and upright, but we will definitely admit what we have done. How could we lie to you? If the Lin family had really participated in what you said, would I still come to you today? Do you think the Lin family will still want to ease the relationship with you after such a thing happened?" Lin Changhe's words were very imposing. This time, Qin Xing and Lin Su were lost in thought. Did the Lin family really not participate in this incident? Was it really just the Yen family? Maybe I didn't know about this incident. At least my brother and I didn't participate in it. I will check it again when I go back and give you an explanation, Lin Changhe said confidently. He believed that the Lin family would not do such a thing, but he could not guarantee that Lin Zhe and Yen Chaozong had made a deal in private. After all, Lin Zhe hated Qin Xing and had a bad temper. Lin Su and Qin Xing came to their senses. Qin Xing did not dare to believe it. Maybe only Yen Chaozong knew the truth. If there was a chance, Qin Xing would definitely ask Yen Chaozong about it. At least he would know who his enemies were. As for Lin Su, she was very excited and happy when she heard the news. The biggest misunderstanding in her heart was finally solved. The Lin family did not participate in that incident, so the relationship between her and the Lin family could also be eased. At least she did not feel conflicted. "Second uncle, since you said so, I will believe you," Qin Xing said thoughtfully. Lin Changhe chuckled and said, "Whether you believe me or not, I will give you a result eventually." "Okay, then why did you come to me today, second uncle Lin?" Qin Xing's attitude toward the Lin family was not as tough as before. He took the initiative to ask. Lin Changhe shook his head and said, "I thought I had a chance, but now I don't want to say it." Qin Xing and Lin Su looked at each other, not knowing what he meant. Chapter 288. Don't think about it, it's a new month. I hope you can vote for me. It's so hard to write during the holidays. What happened that night was unforgettable for Qin Sheng. It was the closest he had been to death since he returned to the city. When he lost consciousness, he really thought he was dead. Luckily, he survived. Qin Sheng kept thinking about what happened that night. Yan Chaozong was the main character and Yi Muyang was the supporting character. What role did the Lin family play? Qin Sheng had been thinking about how he should face the Lin family if they were really involved in that matter. They were all Lin Su's relatives. Should he still take revenge? After all, when Lin Changhe went to Shanghai to look for him, he was very determined. If he insisted on being with Lin Su, he would have to face the storm of the Lin family. Therefore, when the accident happened later, Qin Sheng guessed that the Lin family was also involved. Sometimes, he was not a magnanimous person like the Prime Minister, nor was he a saint who repaid evil with good. Instead, he was a person who would seek revenge. It was not that he would not seek revenge, but that the time had not yet come. Although he could understand the Lin family's situation, any big family like the Lin family would not marry such an outstanding daughter to an ordinary man like him. Of course, Qin Sheng could understand it. But you can't kill people to keep them quiet. This was what he could not accept. Qin Sheng could understand it. Of course, he could understand it. Today, Qin Sheng's meeting with Lin Changhe untied the knot in his heart. If the Lin family really did not participate in the encirclement against him, Qin Sheng's attitude towards them would not be so firm. At least they could sit down and talk about many things. Even if he was looked down upon by the Lin family, so what? Under the premise that he was not powerful, he did not care at all. He only cared about Lin Su. As long as Lin Su was not stuck in the middle, Qin Sheng could accept any situation. So now that Lin Changhe had something to say, Qin Sheng could consider it no matter what the Lin family did to him. After all, such an opportunity was hard to come by. Lin Su seemed to be in a good mood. Because she had put down the stone, she felt very secure and relaxed. So she said, "Uncle, what's the matter?" After hesitating for a while, Lin Changhe looked at Qin Sheng and said, "This matter depends on whether Qin Sheng is willing to do it or not. If you want to ease the relationship between you and the Lin family, if you want to go on above board, second uncle, just say it," Qin Sheng said without hesitation. No matter how stupid he was, he would understand that Lin Changhe was giving him a chance. Of course, he had to seize such a chance. Lin Changhe took a sip of the coffee served by the waiter, squinted, and said, "Qin Sheng, actually I appreciate young people like you, who are very capable, both in life and in work. But for a family like the Lin family, they didn't have the time to test their potential, and they didn't dare to take this risk. Because the Lin family is going downhill, we need powerful external help to ensure that we won't decline and maintain our status. Marriage has always been the first choice of big families. Any child born in a big family will understand this. It's just that some people are willing to accept it and some choose to resist. Su belongs to the second group." Lin Su said nothing. For them, it was a blessing or a curse. If they were lucky, they might find a satisfactory life partner. If they were unlucky, their marriage would be useless. "Second uncle, I have always understood the Lin family's position. So on this matter, I just have some complaints, but I never hate the Lin family. If I were an elder of the Lin family, I would also choose Yan Chaozong," Qin Sheng said sincerely. This was the truth. Lin Changhe nodded with appreciation and said, "It's good that you understand. But I didn't expect that things would go this way, and I didn't expect that Su would be so tough. In the end, she chose to elope with you and directly gave up the whole Lin family. But Su is the daughter of the Lin family after all. It's impossible for the Lin family to not care about her. People are made of flesh. What's more, what can we do now? So there must be a solution for this matter, and this is the main reason why I came to you today." So what's the solution of the Lin family? Qin Shing asked confusedly. He didn't believe that things would be so simple. After all, this matter was not only the Lin family's problem, but also the Yen family's problem. Lin Su also looked at her uncle curiously. If this matter could be solved perfectly, of course it would be a happy ending. Lin Changhe paused for a few seconds. Maybe he was organizing his words and thinking about how to make Qin Shing yield. Finally, he said slowly, "You must be very clear that you, Su, the Lin family, and the Yen family are the main players in this matter. Although you and Su have challenged the dignity of the Lin family and made the whole Lin family suffer such a big loss, Su is the daughter of the Lin family after all. Besides, you have already suffered such a loss, so the Lin family should just accept it. But the Lin family won't yield, because the Yen family is not like the Lin family. The Lin family has a problem with the marriage, and Chaozong likes Su very much. If we choose you at this time, it is equal to slapping the Yen family in the face. Will the Yen family accept it? Obviously not. Based on the Yen family's current ability, it is inevitable that they will suppress the Lin family. So we have to solve the problem of the Yen family." Qin Shing didn't say anything but asked, "Uncle, do you have any good suggestions?" Lin Changhe knew that this was the most important part. He continued, "As long as the Yen family forgives this matter, the Lin family will have no objection. Now that the Lin family has no objections, your matter can naturally be settled. So the Yen family is the most important person in the Yen family, and Yen Chaozong is the most important person in the Yen family. So you have to find a way to make Yen Chaozong let this matter go. If he forgives you, the whole thing will be solved." Qin Shing and Lin Su didn't expect that Lin Changhe would propose such a plan. How difficult it was to make Yen Chaozong forgive Qin Shing. How could a person like Yen Chaozong forgive Qin Shing? It was already good enough that he didn't make Qin Shing suffer. The Lin family was a bit whimsical. "Uncle, how could Yen Chaozong forgive Qin Shing?" Lin Su couldn't help but blurt out. Qin Shing also said, "Second uncle, the Lin family gave me a big problem." Lin Changhe knew that they would definitely have such a reaction. After Qin Shing said that, Lin Changhe also knew that there was no way to solve this matter. After all, the two sides had become sworn enemies. How could Qin Shing lower his head and admit his mistake? Lin Changhe sighed and said, "I know it's hard for you, so I don't care if I say it or not. However, this is the only solution. If you can find a better one, of course, I will be happy to see it." Lin Changhe sighed. Lin Su gritted her teeth and asked, "Uncle, is the Lin family so afraid of the Yen family? Su, what do you think? You are so smart that I don't need to explain this to you." Lin Changhe stared at Lin Su and asked. Then he continued, "Qin Shing, sometimes you need to know when to give up. Do you want to have a smooth life with Su? Do you want to marry Su? If you don't solve this problem, even if the Lin family doesn't care about it, will Yen Chaozong let you go? Will the Yen family let you go? You could live incognito in the past, but do you still have a chance now? You have made some achievements in Hangzhou, but can your achievements really stop the Yen family?" Lin Su looked at Qin Shing with pity. Qin Shing squinted his eyes and was lost in thought. What second Uncle Lin said was right. If this problem was not solved, it would not stop until one of them died, unless he had the strength to challenge the Yen family. But was it enough? At this moment the atmosphere was a bit stiff. No one said anything. Lin Changhe drank his coffee and did not have any hope for this. After a while, Qin Shing still did not say anything. He sighed and said, "Qin Shing, think about it. I know what this means to a young man like you. It means that your pride has been broken, your dignity and bottom line have been trampled. If you really don't want to, I will not make things difficult for you." At this time, Qin Shing suddenly opened his eyes and said, "Second uncle, you don't have to think about it. I will apologize to Yen Chaozong and find a way to make him forgive me. As long as I don't take Lin Su away, I can bear anything else. Qin Shing suddenly agreed without any warning, which made Lin Changhe feel a bit strange. He stared at Qin Shing in shock. As the old saying goes, a man should know when to yield and when to stand tall. This saying was true, but not everyone could do it. At this moment, he knew that Qin Shing was really not an ordinary person. If he was given a chance, he would definitely soar to the sky. Such a young man just needed time. At this moment, his evaluation of Qin Shing was instantly raised to a higher level. On the other hand, Lin Su, who was at the side, stared at Qin Shing, dumbfounded. She could not believe it. Her eyes instantly turned red because this was too unfair to Qin Shing. This was really trampling Qin Shing into the dust. How much courage did Qin Shing have to make such a decision? You don't have to do this, Lin Su said with red eyes. She knew that everything Qin Shing did was for her. Qin Shing held Lin Su's hand and said with extremely firm eyes, "Second uncle, please help me to make an appointment with Yan Chaozong. I will talk to him face to face. He can do whatever he wants." Lin Changhe nodded thoughtfully and said, "Okay, leave it to me. Just wait for my call. Qin Shing, you are really good. I am looking forward to what height you can reach. What you have suffered today will become your motivation to move forward. One day you will pay back." Qin Shing said gratefully, "Thank you, second uncle. Then I will leave first." Since Lin Changhe had completed his task, there was no need for him to stay any longer. Consequently, he stood up and left directly. Before he left, he took out a card and handed it to Lin Su. He said, "Su, this is what your father gave you. I know you have a lot of savings, but you have not used them yet in order to prevent us from finding you. So in the future, you don't need to hide it. Don't treat yourself badly." These words made Lin Su feel more and more uncomfortable. Chapter 289. Just seeking death. I was in my hometown during the National Day, and the blackout lasted until the afternoon. I didn't expect it, so I updated it now. Please forgive me, this was Qin Shing's choice. It was a helpless choice, a choice he had to make because he didn't have the strength. As Lin Changhe said, people always had to make choices in life. For most people, it was not easy to stand up straight and live a decent life. Therefore, in this society, only those who were flexible could live such a comfortable life, and only those who flattered and flattered could climb higher. But was this society supposed to be like this? Qin Shing was also confused. If it was in the past, he would be alone and unrestrained, like the chivalrous swordsman in ancient times, who didn't need to care about others' feelings. He could go wherever he wanted, do whatever he wanted, and hide in Jianghu or the forest. But now, he couldn't. Lin Su chose him regardless of everything. Was he going to let Lin Su wander around with him for the rest of her life? Even if Lin Su was willing, would he be so selfish? Chang Baji, Hao Lei, and the others followed him from Xi'an to Shanghai, and from Shanghai to Hangzhou. They trusted him so much. Should he ignore them for his own interests? Therefore, Qin Shing had to make such a choice. Although he was very unwilling, he had to do it. He didn't know why, but he did it for the people he cared about. On the way back from the cafe, Qin Shing held Lin Su's hand tightly, for fear that he would never find her again if he let go. "Qin Shing, you really don't have to do this, really." Qin Shing didn't say anything on the way back, and he looked a little depressed. Lin Su was afraid that this matter would really wear away all of Qin Shing's spirit and make him change. Finally, she couldn't help but say this again. Qin Shing turned around, let go of Lin Su's shoulder and said, "Wife, you think too much. I have my own considerations and plans. What's more, if Yan Chaozong's request is too much, I might not agree to it. At most, we will fight to the death." "Really?" Lin Su asked doubtfully. She used to be independent and full of wisdom, but now she only cared about Qin Shing, and didn't want to think too much. Qin Shing said with a cheeky smile. Why would I lie to you? Women needed to be coaxed, no matter how smart they were. Qin Shing coaxed and deceived Lin Su to send her home. He did not want her to feel pressured. These things should be shouldered by men. Since the Lin family had acquiesced to their relationship, Lin Su did not need to hide her identity anymore. She planned to contact her bosom friends in Hangzhou. After all, several bosom friends were in Hangzhou, not only the beauty in the Academy of Fine Arts. She was also an ordinary person. After not contacting her friends for such a long time, she more or less missed them. As for Qin Shing, the aftermath of what had happened last night was far from over. It was just that it had been suppressed by powerful connections. Otherwise, it would have broken out today. After all, Yan Chaozong and Chu Huanxi had not expanded the effect, because this kind of thing could very well get out of control. When the time comes, offending too many people might not be a good thing. Therefore, the thunder was loud, but the raindrops were small. At this moment, Qin Shing rushed back to the company in the center of Europe and America. Angie had contacted a famous public relations company in Zhe province last night. Although Chowda had established a good relationship with the publicity system, it was an era of new media, so they had to be well prepared. This public relations company was very capable. It was said that it had a very powerful background. Big companies in Hangzhou all turned to them for help. Their strategic partners were several public relations companies in Beijing. They belonged to the same interests. Therefore, it was not difficult for them to deal with such a small matter. As long as the money was in place, everything was easy. Therefore, Qin Shing had to go to the company to listen to Angie's report. Chang Baji had not come out yet. Qin Shing called Song Wei over and asked him to contact Brother Luo. After all, Song Wei was quite familiar with this kind of thing. Hao Lei took Gu Xiaobo, Gu Qingyang, and Tang Shi to run errands. Everyone was putting out the fire in an orderly manner. Of course, Qin Shing would not stay out of it. He kept in touch with these big shots in the political and legal system at all times. Then, he prepared to meet those big shots with Chowda that night, who could really speak. Qin Shing did not look good. When everyone saw Qin Shing, they all kept quiet out of fear. After Qin Shing saw the secretary, he asked in a low voice, "Where is Miss N?" "Miss N is in a meeting," the secretary replied in a hurry. Then she led Qin Shing to the conference room. The door of the conference room was pushed open. Many managers were in a meeting. Although Qin Shing came to the company less often, and Mizzen was in charge of the management, everyone definitely knew Qin Shing. They stood up one after another and shouted, "Boss Qin." Qin Shing said with a smile, "Everyone has worked hard today. Please pay more attention to this matter. But for our company, it will not have any impact. After a period of time, everything will be back to normal." Although Qin Shing said so, everyone was still somewhat worried. Only those who knew these unspoken rules knew that if someone really wanted to deal with them, Boss Qin would not be standing here. He would have been taken into prison. Therefore, it was not a big deal. Maybe they just offended a small monk or a small temple. Well, I've said what I need to say. Let's call it a day. Everyone, be responsible for what you should be responsible for. If there is any mistake, don't blame me for being ruthless, Mizzen said in a very domineering manner. Although Mizzen was usually very polite and kind, when something really happened, her attitude was very tough. Qin Shing had already known this in the era of Shangshan Ruoshui. After everyone had left, only Qin Shing and Mizzen were left in the conference room. Mizzen suddenly let out a long sigh and said, "You finally came. I was really afraid that I could not handle it. This is the first time that I have encountered such a thing." "It's not a big deal. I still believe in your ability," Qin Shing said, patting Mizzen on the shoulder. Mizzen rolled her eyes at Qin Shing and said, "I have not rested since last night. After your call, I have been busy. I only had one meal today." After the matter is settled, I will give you a week's-long vacation so that you can have a good rest. Everyone will have extra bonuses, Qin Shing said in a timely manner. Mizzen said with satisfaction, "That's more like it." "How was it? Did anything unexpected happen today?" Qin Shing squinted and asked. This was what he cared about most. He could not keep an eye on everyone and everything. He had to let the group of people do it. Otherwise, he would really be exhausted. After sitting down, Mizzen replied, "Thanks to the PR company you contacted, they suppressed all the negative news. Otherwise, we would have been so busy. Moreover, Manager Song and Hao Lei have been running errands for us. If we still can't solve the problem, it means that the problem is not within our ability." "That's good," Qin Shing replied concisely. Mizzen stared at Qin Shing with a playful expression. "I want to know, who on earth did we offend? Why would they do such a cruel thing to us? I only know that the source of the matter is a deputy director of the provincial department who is about to retire. But with Manager Chow's strength and the resources of Brother Luo, it seems that a deputy director is not able to be pried away. So there is someone above him, but it is not easy to say who it is. Manager Chow, Brother Luo, and I are all inquiring about it," Qin Shing said truthfully. He did not hide anything from Mizzen said thoughtfully, "I hope we can get through this smoothly, and I hope they do not have any backup plan." Qin Shing did not say anything. This was not what Mizzen should worry about. He only needed to be responsible for what he asked. As for other things, he needed to worry about them. After that, Qin Shing called Song Wei and Hao Lei. He wanted to know how they were doing after running around for a whole day. They had paid the fine and accepted the suspension of business. But when would Chang Baji and the others be released? After finishing these things, it was already afternoon. Qin Shing hurried to Jiushi Rose Garden to discuss with Chao De about the banquet in the evening. Qin Shing had to figure out who would attend, how to prepare, and what the standard would be. Qin Shing's side was in a mess. Of course, Chu Huanxi and Yen Chaozong were the happiest. At this moment, they were enjoying the pleasure of victory. They did not know that this kind of forcibly adding drama was like seeking death. It was completely to make people hate them. But of course, they did not understand it now. Sitting in the big villa, Chu Huanxi, who was holding a beauty in his arms, laughed and said, "Lao Yen, the plan is perfect. Your rival in love has been tormented like an ant on a hot pan. This is a good show of strength." Yen Chaozong, who was still in Shanghai, said disapprovingly, "This is just the beginning. Next we have a better plan. Our goal is very clear." I know. Ha ha ha, when will you come to Hangzhou?" "I can't wait," Chu Huanxi said excitedly. Yen Chaozong hesitated for a moment and said, "I may have to go on a business trip these 2 days. After the business trip in Beijing, I should go there." "Okay, I will wait for you." Chu Huanxi hung up the phone with satisfaction. In fact, both of them had different purposes. Yen Chaozong's purpose was to kill Qin Shing. After all, they were mortal enemies. Chu Huanxi was just a playboy who wanted to have fun. He just wanted to beat Qin Shing hard, and then let him leave Hangzhou with his tail between his legs. So they were just using each other. After all, it was easier to cooperate with the strong. After Yen Chaozong hung up the phone, he was thinking about Qin Shing's embarrassing situation. Did he really think that he was already a big shot in Hangzhou? As long as he wanted to deal with him, there were many ways. When he was still complacent, his phone rang again. The name displayed on the screen was a little disdainful. Yen Chaozong thought that it was just a good-for-nothing who wanted to climb up to him. If he and Lin Su had married smoothly, then everything in the Lin family would have been under his control, and this brother-in-law would not have been able to do anything. Who knew that Qin Shing would come out of nowhere? It was really F***ed up. After Yen Chaozong picked up the phone, he talked with Qin Shing without sadness or joy. After a few minutes, he got the message. The second uncle of the Lin family, Lin Changhe, wanted to see him and had just arrived in Shanghai. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.